Welcome back. Welcome back. Steady as she goes. Every all day, every day. Peaceful Pulley, thank you so much for the kind words of appreciation. It's always appreciated. I'm glad to be here. This is something I love doing, among other things. I mean, there's a lot of creative things I love to do. And let me just know, or let me just check my sound on my other computer that has the show on. Let's see if everything's straight before we roll. Let me click this button over here. Make sure it's going on in. Okay. I think it is. There's a little delay here. Let's hope that everything is a-okay. Let me get a word, Peaceful Pulley, if the sound is coming through. And we'll carry on. D-Bose, yes. This is addictive. I'm telling you, this is a good addiction. We're supposed to speak about the deeper things. We can still have fun and crack jokes. You know I got that in me. I know you got that in you. But the bottom line is you got to cover certain topics. And lots of times it may seem like it's the same thing, but it's just a slight difference. You know, a little overlap. And I use child support as an example because I can talk for 5 hours on child support and not cover everything. You know why? Reason being is that you have child support from the angle and perspective of the father who's paying it. He might be a good man. He might have done everything right, but the relationship just didn't work. And the woman wanted that backup income. That's why she laid down with him. Landon Price, wake him. I was going to say, wake him on up. Why? Because you said eyes wide open. You see how my brain is? Boom, quick. That's why before I got so old, I was good with jokes. We'd all go around and tell jokes on each other, and I would come back fast. So my brain was like a trigger. Had Not and Sons, welcome on in. Glad to see you. We're going to keep this thing going regular. I'm not going to stay up as late. We can still put some time in. That's why I started earlier. In actuality, I just got in. I made a run out. And I had it for 9 my time, which is 5 East Coast time. And I said, you know what? Let me get a little extra hour because I know when I get out there and do a little shopping and stuff. And I was just on a mission to go and come back. There's just so much, you know, back and forth traffic. And what I'll do, I took some clips. Yes, let me open this up for you, brother. I took some clips out there. Nothing. Your line is open, brother. Yes, welcome on in. I took some clips of just walking around down in one of the markets. Real busy. I have to say Saturday because tomorrow's church day, right? People are busy out there. One day I'm just going to go out there and stand in one spot and just let the camera catch everything so you can get a good feel of it. But tonight we're talking about protecting yourself in the deadly world of deception. I kept my promise, brother. You see?
So, brother Lance, you were right, brother. This stuff is addictive, man. You're right, brother. This stuff is definitely addictive, brother. That ain't no joke.
Exactly. And the reason why I want to say that.
Oh, brother Lance, just give me a few minutes. Just give me a few minutes.
Take your time, brother. I'm here. I'm gonna read something off. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Yeah. You know, the reason why, not that I slacked off, but I didn't do all the lives and all this stuff because here with this construction and finishing things up, which is going to be toward the end of the year, I'm being honest, and I'm not telling all my business, and I'm just being real. We're getting a lot of good work done. And you know, sometimes you have to go out and get materials. Sometimes the guys that are coming to work, they don't show up. You call, they don't answer, then they call later. And you know, things get delayed. You have estimates come around because this is from scratch. But it's just not going to be something from scratch that, oh, well, let it just turn out the way it has to turn out. This has got to be, and this is not me putting my business out there, but I have to say it, and you all know my personality. This has got to be my own private resort. This has got to be everything to me as far as how I feel. Meaning that I just want to explain my mindset. I'm an artist. And I know that when people go and purchase a house in a subdivision, and it might be 5 different models, right? And say, oh, I picked this one. Somebody created that. And in that subdivision, whether it's a 3-bedroom or 4-bedroom or 5-bedroom home, a couple of other people are going to have that same exact model with slight differences, the color of the roof, but that layout is going to be the same. And have you ever gone to a house that had the same layout, or an apartment that has the same layout? If you're in an apartment building in the bigger cities and you know somebody upstairs and you walk in there like, man, they did this a little different as far as arrangement of furniture. But the point I wanted to make is that when you're in one of these homes, which I've always been in a home that was already built, you find a corner that you like the most. And it feels good in that favorite corner. And you're home and you like being home and you're relaxed and everything, but nothing feels like that particular room, that particular corner of this room, your cozy spot. My goal was to create a place that the whole daggone place was a cozy spot. That I had everything that I wanted, the way I wanted to feel, and I wanted to keep it where it was interesting, deep, angles, corners, rooms with privacy, all the rooms, everything, the layout, the foot traffic, the traffic flow. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It ain't finished yet, but sometimes I just walk around in here and I'm like, man, it feels so good. And then I think about all of the restaurants, hotels, nightclubs, other people's houses. And I said, let me think about what they had, not copying them, but what made me feel good about their place, and let me incorporate it into mine. Like I always say, it could be that restaurant where you have the high back chairs next to a window and they got the plants over it, the little things. So every angle in this place, I don't ever want to leave, really. I'm not a hermit. Yes, I am a little reclusive. When I go down, I enjoy it into the city. But you can put me on house arrest up in this bad boy when it's done for a year. Just get me my food, keep my internet connection. I'll laugh at you. It has to be that way. And that was my dream. It wasn't just move, and it was financial, where you can do things better and have everything taken care of. A lot of other reasons too. But I'm very happy. And there's some who I sent an aerial view of what's done so far, you know, and let me see, I hear nothing. Maybe he came back. Let me see. Okay. Yeah, brother, you're back. Okay, let me add you in. Yeah, there you go. So I didn't really want to come to just talk about that because we have the title and stuff like that. I just wanted to read off something real quick. And maybe I'm going to go down a list of bulleted points. This is, our brother is here. We'll do that and talk about each one because that'll keep us, I mean, I don't mind going off the point, but that'll make sure we hit all the points. And, you know, as much as I love you here, brother, it really makes me happy that I can go to the bathroom sometime with this aging bladder of mine.
I think we all need some men over middle age, man. We all need some soft pomelo, man. You know, you know, they say the only constant in the universe is change, bro. So we all going through it, whether you're a male or female. So
exactly. And you know what? At this point, every step of the way in this life, there've been challenges. There are things thrown in your way, but they help to make you grow, and also to make you appreciate what you have. See, I don't want what anybody else has. Look, right now on this earthly plane, I'm content. And I put out a little tweet earlier, and in the WhatsApp room, basically saying, happiness is temporary, joy is forever. And it made me think, you know, when you break down happiness and then joy, your happiness can be tested. It can be diminished a bit. It's not a constant state that's guaranteed. Sometimes we lose loved ones. Sometimes we lose jobs. Sometimes we have health issues. Sometimes you're just tired and don't want to get up out the bed and have to go because you have an appointment, right? But the joy, for me, when I always say, I'm in love with the joy of the process. That includes the ups and downs, the challenges. So therefore, because I'm in the joy of the process, when there's a letdown moment, I'm like, okay, This is just going to make things sweet when things go the way I want it. And sometimes they don't go the way you want it. How many times have you driven somewhere to an engagement or somewhere you wanted to go, and there was a roadblock because the block had to be, just blocked off because of an accident or a tree fell in the middle of the road and you had to take another way? That doesn't stop you from getting to your final destination. Well, I'm not going to say final, but your ultimate destination that you wanted to go to. So for me, it's joy. Even when I'm pissed off at something silently because it threw me off or whatever, it's a joy to that. Because in that process, it makes you love it even more when you have your victorious moments, when you see a blank piece of paper and draw a picture on it that nobody saw. Now they're looking at it like, wow. When you make a topic and you speak about it and people can get into it, because what I'm seeing here, I don't know, maybe it's just my algorithm, but they try to feed me foolishness all the time. And I'm like, well, I'm on a new channel now. YouTube doesn't know me now. Oh, they know me. Trust me. They're doing little things already. But the algorithm hasn't picked me out yet. Like I said last night, I'm like that dude in front of the club waiting to get picked by the bouncer to go in. Before, I was so saturated in the algorithm that it just went on through. So my numbers are low, but it's growing like a little baby, and you have so much hope for it. So I'm content, and I have that joy. The people, oh, how you feel, man? You start all over again. I'm gonna say it like Muhammad Ali. That just give me a chance to show you how bad I am.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
I want to say this introduction. Yeah. Go ahead and say what you said. I'm just going to.
No, I was just going to say, in life, we're always hit with, as you said, you don't like to use that word challenge, but
problem. Yeah.
Problems, problems. But when I was in Iraq, when the war first jumped off in 2003, and believe me, I did not want to be there. But one of the things it taught me, one of the most important things it taught me was tough times don't last forever.
Right.
You see, and sometimes, you just got to roll with the punches and be able to at least see the light at the end of the tunnel,
Right.
So that's right. Like anything, it's like you playing cards and you get dealt a hand. Well, the question is, are you just going to get up and slam the cards on the table and walk away, or are you going to try to work with the hand that you've been dealt with?
Right. And that's the very time when victory is coming. Right.
So, like I said, the race doesn't go to the swift nor to the strong, but those who can endure. But you got to understand what you're enduring so you know what's at the end of the tunnel. So
Yes. You got to know. And like I said, I'm on fire from within, righteous fire, more than ever before. And that's just not talk.
Right.
Because I can't help but be focused in everything I do because of the atmosphere that I'm in now, the physical place that I'm in now, the peace and quiet in that place, the lack of distractions or less distractions, minimal distractions. I mean, unless I distract myself or allow myself to be distracted. But the sleep, the quiet moments, the way you move and navigate, as opposed to, and I'm not just crapping all over America to make my brothers and sisters feel bad. No, I'm not. It's just that I feel it. But I didn't come here looking, like I said from before, people come and feel that it's going to change them and they're looking to reinvent themselves again. You got to take care of that stuff before you get here, or know that it's not going to change you just to throw a dashiki on or an ankh or an African necklace. Get into it, but don't think that it's going to change you, because after a while, you're not going to still feel good with yourself. I'm my best friend. I mean, you're Mr. Scurv, of course, but I'm just saying, like, I'm my best friend when alone. I mean, I've always been that way from my young teenage years. But even before that, I'd be in my room drawing, listening to music, just whatever, laughing, telling jokes to myself. I was like, what's wrong with him?
Right.
Yeah. Just, I was on the van cracking up. I was trying to hold it in because the people started looking at me like, what's wrong with this guy? I had something in my ear and I was playing, oh God, what was the song? Oh God, Don't Stop the Love. Who, I forgot the guy's name. Don't stop the love, don't stop. And the guy's like, loving me. And that's a song I remember from back in Was it 81, 82?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say. I remember that song.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. I
And
definitely remember that song.
there was a bodybuilder competitor named Carla Dunlap from New Jersey. I think she's in Florida now, and she won Miss Olympia. Was it 82 or 83, 81, one of them years? And she used to train at a gym called John Kemper's gym. John Kemper was a national level competitor, pretty good. And I'd been in a couple of his shows and done well. And I would always see Carla Dunlap there, but I never talked to her. Not that I didn't want to talk to her, but she was up there, you know, in bodybuilding.
Yeah,
when females still look like females.
Right.
And she was
like, but she came in before like Corey Erickson.
Right. And Corey, I know Corey. I'm not saying I got a number in my phone, but even her and Jeff Everson, her husband who passed away. And I remember, and I'm not gonna twist this like, look at him, he Tom, and the white woman said something to him, he felt good. No, I was at a show one time, and I was so surprised that she knew me because I was, you know, a little teenager and whatever. And after I went into this competition, a couples competition, and I'll put a name out there, a young lady with this name, Inez Merced. Don't know where she is now. I'm gonna Google her and maybe I can get her on. But we got sixth place, about maybe 12 people in the competition. But we had the best routine. It's just that politically we didn't have the pull for the other people. And she came up and she said, Lance, I really enjoyed that routine. You're a doll. I was like, you know me? She says, you're all over the place. Of course I know you. I was like, wow. So don't put no spin on it and say, look at her. He's a black revolutionary. But we had a love of bodybuilding. We had a love of the craft. And to be acknowledged by somebody who's deep into it and going places in it was a nice feeling. And that's all it was. You know what I mean?
You know, Lance, I remember I had a college professor like in the early 90s, and he said something to me. He was a white guy, and it always kind of stuck with me off and on. He said, we're talking about, you know, American race relations and all that. And he said, you know, there are some white people I hang around, and there's some white people I don't hang around. And he said, there's some black people I hang around, and there's some black people I don't hang around. And I'm the same way pretty much myself, because where I used to train in the Philippines, I used to train at the gym. And the owner, he was at one time he was Mr. Philippines. And when they had the Mr. Universe contest in Acapulco, Mexico, he was the standing Mr. Philippines. He was the primary. There was a guy who was a primary, and the gym owner, the guy I knew, he was the alternate. Meaning, if the primary would have got hurt, like getting off the airplane coming to the States,
he would have stepped in.
Alternate,
that's right.
He would have stepped in, right? So I remember he was telling me about that, and I was thinking, wait, I said Acapulco, 1978. I said 79, something like that. I think 78. He said, I said, was that the one with Mike Menser? That was the one with Menser.
Mike Menser, yes. I'm about to say it.
He said, yeah. He said, I saw him. I said, what was he like? He said, I'm gonna tell you something. He said, this dude, Mike, was so huge. His back, when he turned around and flexed his back, he did a double bicep flex.
Yes, he was.
He said his back was as wide as a wall.
Yes. Let me tell you something. I was at the Night of the Champions in 1978. And that's my friend Junior, who passed away, God rest his soul. He would have us come, you know, and because his friend Wayne, who ran the thing, you know, we didn't have to
Was that Wayne D'Amelia?
No, me and Wayne know each other. We haven't talked. I'm gonna try to reach out to him and get him on the show. And it'll probably be a 5-hour show. He knows me from when I began because of Junior. So we're there. I see Bill Grant, because you know I did an interview with Bill Grant, and I think I put it up on if I didn't, I'll put it up tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm gonna put up a whole lot of older shows in the classic podcast playlist. And I saw him, of course I saw Robbie again, because I saw Robbie like the week before. But we got on the elevator. Yes, Robbie, face to face. 15 years old. And it's funny, switch the numbers around to 51. I was 51 years old and interviewed him. That's so funny. While I was interviewing Bill Grant, Robbie called in, and you're going to hear it. I'm not lying. You're going to hear it. And I'm like, Robbie? Right? And so a week later or so, we did an interview with him. Right? But on the elevator, Mike Menser got on. I'll never forget what he had on. He had these like brown boots, but the boots the jeans weren't tucked. They weren't tucked in. They were over, but you can see how, you know, and you're a young kid, you're like, you notice everything. And he wasn't an idol, but he was in something that I liked, and he was at the top of the game, not all the way yet.
He was on his way up.
Exactly, the way he looked, right? So he had on jeans, and then he had on a suede blazer, and he had like the arm, the elbow patch on there, right? And a button-up shirt and his glasses, and he was talking to himself. Looked not like a nutcase, although he did have issues with drugs and not just the steroids, but using other stuff,
amphetamines and stuff like that.
Yes, he was deep in that. And so he was like, I got to get out of here. I got to get out of here. So me and all my friends that we talk every day in our little jokes, inside jokes, if they have to go on the phone with them, say, Lance, I got to get out of here. Got to get out of here. And that was Mike Mensa saying that, but that nobody knows that joke. So he was pressed to go somewhere, but he had to show his face, you know? So I never forget stuff like that. And people just don't know. It's wonderful when, even though we know these guys took steroids and stuff like that, you're not idolizing like they're gods, but you see, look, we didn't have social media. I think it's less of a shock when you see somebody who you admire, because back then it was just magazines. So when you see a person moving and talking, it's like, oh shoot, right? Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was just like in the magazines, like you might have a fan club or somebody like that, and you would write in and join the fan club, and then you send them the letter in and all this, and they tell you what to do. But to see these people in real life, man, was just incredible, and just to talk to somebody who knew them, and somebody just like somebody I always wanted to meet, and he's up from your way is Leroy Colbert, the first man to build a 21-inch arm drug free.
I remember him. He had a store in Midtown Manhattan, a little bit below 72nd Street, and we used to go in there and get vitamins and stuff. Yeah, I'm not saying I know him, but he was a judge a couple times in some of the competitions I was in. He knew of me. He was an older guy who'd been through so much in bodybuilding, as far as like he went way back. I was just that little kid with the familiar face. Hey man, I like your posing routine you did, man. You put it down, and even that. And another guy, he never made it big, but it's a name that we would know, was Annabelle Lopez. He had a vitamin store, a shop right there on Hillside Avenue. Either it was 160.
Was he like kind of like a short? Was he kind of like a short guy? Kind of like a short?
Yeah, short.
He wasn't that tall. And maybe like 5'6".
He wasn't on steroids,
5'6",
obviously.
Yeah. But didn't he come through Arthur Jones' camp, Nautilus? Didn't he come through that for a hot second?
For a hot second, I believe so. And he was always a nice guy. And I would go talk with him if I was in the neighborhood, whatever have you. But it wasn't like, oh yeah, Lance, what's going on? Right. But a lot of them got to know me, and that was a good feeling, because when I do these little interviews or reach people online, and they say the name, they see Lancescurv, but it's Lancescurvin. But come on, what's the difference in that? You know what I mean?
Right.
And then I shaved my head now, and I was younger. I didn't look. My face was very chiseled. You know what I mean? It was a different look. But they like, wait a second, that name has a ring to it. It was a nice feeling, and it was good to do something like that. I was never a person who would ever think about joining a gang to feel like I belong somewhere. But the camaraderie in the gym at that time, people who go to gyms now, they're not going to get that level of camaraderie. It was really a sweet time for me as a young man. These days it's all business. Yeah, they're on drugs, they're zooted, they're on steroids, and they're on cocaine. Just slipped up, crazy.
Lance, like I said, when I was at the gym about a week ago, and I'm in a locker room, I'm about to leave, and it was like I said, some high school guys, because they was talking about class, and you hear certain lingo, and you say, okay, these guys in high school. And the guys must have weighed about 150 pounds, soaking wet. And they're talking about anabolics.
They really gonna mess themselves up, man.
And I'm looking at these dudes. I'm looking at them. I'm saying anabolics. I said, guys, you got to go build some muscle. You got to put some. Go put on 50 pounds, 60 pounds naturally. And then
train your
you know,
body.
if you're gonna compete, that's one thing. You got to
Right.
be on that stuff. I mean,
Yeah,
you
but
know,
not
but
so
if you're not
young.
competing, you
Not
don't
so
need it.
young.
No, not at that age. Go
Remember,
bench press 300 pounds first and squat 400 and then consider it.
you remember Ron Tufel, who won Mr. America? No, he didn't win the America. Tony Pearson beat him. He just knew he was going to win the America. That was back in
Oh,
'78.
Pearson, he could pose, man. Man, that man could pose.
Yeah. And he beat Ron Tufel, who had the, the blonde hair and the all-American look, how they have that. And Tony Pearson beat him, and he was pissed. And he did some shows as a professional, but it really didn't go anywhere. He had a boxy physique. His waistline was really huge.
Yeah.
He had good raised arms and stuff like that. Shoulders were kind of narrow. He was impressive if you saw him. You had an untrained eye. But and yes, everybody, we will get over the topic, but this is too sweet. This is addictive, man. I might wake up out my sleep later on and do another one. Right?
Well, I think it was Tony Pearson. I just want to just add to that. I remember Tony Pearson was in an interview, and he said he was somewhere in Sweden, and they told him, the judges, I mean, somebody just came out and straight told him, said, don't expect to win this contest. They were like, don't expect to win, because they had somebody else that was already the favorite. And he came, I think he came in second place or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
it was like one of these contests. Yeah, they'll tell them straight up, say, hey man, this is who we want to win, pretty much. They say it without saying it.
That's the way it is, though. It's business.
Yeah, all the way.
Right. So here we are. I'm working at Home Depot for the first time in the early '90s, and they had these classes. They pick you like in Home Depot. Like, okay, he's promising. He might be a manager one day. So, and with your products, I was in the floor and wall department because I know a lot about that stuff. So I represented the whole, because the other guys were just working just to have a job. I wasn't looking for no career, but they thought I was. You know what I mean? I was there just for a job also. Right. So they said, okay, we're going to have you come out to Long Island. It's a class out there, and they pay your way, your hotel. If the guys who get together, who was driving, we get together, go out there. So I go out there, and we're going to. I forgot which one it was. I'll dig deeper; it will come to me. So we're out there, and we're sitting in this particular room, which it wasn't a classroom, but it was a room set aside for that with the blackboard and everything, or the whiteboard. And we took a break, and who do I see in that Home Depot? Ron Tufel. Was he shopping? No. He was working at Home Depot. So there's no crime in working a job anyway. I don't care if you flip burgers at McDonald's. All work is edifying. You're not hurting anybody. Maybe you're coming up, you're doing this for a while. Hopefully you look for better. So it hit me because it was Ron Tufel, right? And I'm thinking, like you're off somewhere, you're making money from bodybuilding, even though you're not competing and winning, you're doing something. And I already knew bodybuilding wasn't the thing to do as far as thinking you're going to get money in this career. You can do it now in certain ways because of the internet. But then, a picture in a magazine and a trophy, no money. You know what I mean? And you're spending money. Look, it was expensive for me. I had my little side jobs. I worked with my father. I had other jobs. And the vitamins and supplementation, luckily, being sponsored by Steve Zinn, the gym owner and that, and I had other gym owners that, kind of, if I represent you in the competition, it brings back people to say, hey, I like that guy. Where do you train? So I talked to him, right? And I remember everything about it. See, I remember everything about everybody when I crossed paths with them. And he had this, he posed to Earth, Wind, and Fire in the Stone. Dun, 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 dun. And I associated him with that, and I'm thinking, all of a sudden I started hearing the song, and I said, hey man, I remember the posing routine you did. He wasn't a great poser, but he came out to a song that I loved, right? And I said, the song about Earth, Wind, and Fire in the Stone. And he looked at me with a blank look. He said, in the stone? In the stone? What are you talking about? And I realized he had issues. I realized he wasn't all there. And that was the rumor, but I saw that was the truth. I didn't know he worked there. I said, well, that's the
Mhm.
song that you posed to when it was some competition. I forgot. I recalled it then. He'll say, oh, okay, In the Stone. I don't remember that. Let me tell you something. I remember every song
Wow.
I posed to. Look, I remember the posing routines that I choreographed, not only for me,
Wow.
but for other people. Because, you know, a lot of guys would come to me because that's something that y'all will never see, because this video out there be like that, but how am I going to find it?
Mhm.
Right? But I was
Mhm.
good choreographing to the beat, and not dancing, but whatever style you wanted. I knew different styles according to physiques. I knew how
Mhm.
to have a certain physique pose to hide their flaws. See, I had
Mhm.
it as a science, even though I wasn't some professional. I was into it.
Mhm.
Anything I do, I'm going to be into
Mhm.
it. The
Mhm.
joy of the process.
Mhm.
And after we work out, coming up before a show, a bunch of the guys would come over. We hang out in my basement, practicing our posing, talking about bodybuilding. You know, we chase girlfriends too sometimes, but I'm saying we were into
Right.
this,
Right.
and that's what made us good. And we had fun and camaraderie. But you don't
Mhm.
see that in the world in many things at all now. Everything is so rigid, and so I gotta look better than this, but I gotta be better. We'd help each other. I knew
Mhm.
when I went out to Plainview, Long Island, where Steve Mahalik threw the show, and he was mad. He was mad because at first they didn't want to let me go into the teenage division and the open division, and he's
Mhm.
running the show. And he's like, why? Why? No, you're going up there. All you're going to do is compete. You diet, you train, you run, you do your cardio, you pose, you sacrifice. I don't know if you're on
Mhm.
steroids, but you know, it's a lot of money. And you mean all you want
Mhm.
to do is go up there? You want to win for something, you know, and this is a show. Let you
Mhm.
go. You're going up there.
Mhm.
He went and talked to some people. They didn't say nothing.
Mhm. Hmm.
And I did put on a show. But anyway,
Did
you
they
know,
test? Did they test for that show?
no, they did. They better not. I mean, meaning for him.
You said they better
They
not
better not.
test.
What? There's
Say
Pomponio and Vicente,
everybody is
John
disqualified.
Defenders. Yeah, what? Shoot.
Say they
You know,
test for you.
that's crazy.
Mhm.
I mean, for the natural America that I won, they took
Mhm.
your urine, they did a blood test, and a
Oh
lie
wow.
detector test. And I
The
mean,
first
I was,
show. Wow. A lie detector
mhm,
test.
yeah,
Wow.
lie
The
detector.
first show.
Yeah.
The first show I was ever in. Actually, I only did one show because I just
Mhm.
never liked dieting. I hate diet. Even today, I hate dieting. I just
Let me
hated the
tell you something.
diet. And when I looked in these
Yeah, no,
magazines and they said you got to
I
do this and do,
understand.
I'm like, man, I can't. Well, 6 days a week. 6 days a week. I can't
Yo,
train six. I can't train 6 days a week. I can't do it. Sometimes two
let me
workouts a
tell you
day. I
something.
say, oh no.
I was training. The last show I went into was an
Mm-hmm.
open class, Mr. New York City. I was 20. I just turned 22.
Mm-hmm.
I just turned 22 years old. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
nothing but drug guys. I wasn't winning nothing, but I like the joy of the
Mm-hmm.
process.
Mm-hmm.
And I was coming off an injury the year before, my back.
Mm-hmm.
So I trained 7 days a week, but the
Mm-hmm.
method is people, oh, you're going to burn out. I did an hour training, hard.
Mm-hmm.
Legs, Monday. Chest, shoulders, and triceps, the pushing muscles, Tuesday. Back and
Mm-hmm.
biceps, Wednesday. Traps, you know, sometimes a little extra hamstrings, whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
I did that, did a little cardio, a little running, a little bike riding, 1,000 sit-ups each time. And not sit-ups, crunches, rather. Sit-ups are no good for you to hurt your back. And I
Mm-hmm.
made sure to eat ample food, but the logic in that, where I didn't burn out, because the old heads, oh man, you gonna burn out. If I trained for an hour, or actually 45 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
it didn't take long to hit those. I wasn't doing a lot, but I was
Mm-hmm.
very intense. 45 minutes, let's just say an hour.
Mm-hmm.
You train 7 days a week. And of course, I could have taken a 7 day off. But if you do
Mm-hmm.
7 days, that's 7 hours. Going to the gym for
Mm-hmm.
3 hours on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, that's 9 hours.
Mm-hmm.
See, you're not taxing your system as much when you do 45 minutes. See? And you
Mm-hmm.
rest. You get a
Mm-hmm.
whole night's rest off of that, as opposed to training the whole body. So I wasn't overtrained. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I was full, I was rested, I know how to balance my food. I came
Mm-hmm.
to more slices than before, but those drug guys, they look, they're bigger and everything. So it didn't bother me none. I put
Right.
together a good
Right.
package. I remember the song I used was Jocelyn Brown, Ain't No Mountain High Enough. That version.
Mm-hmm.
And the women loved it. They met me outside. Oh God, I love the way you pose and the way you, because I used to do the facial expressions. I had it down to an art. It's a pity there's no video. Somebody's got something out there. But, you know, I did it for my own reasons and my own joy and the camaraderie, the joy of the process. But I became disillusioned with it when I realized how many of the professionals and amateurs were prostitutes for gay men. How many were using drugs. And I it's not like I accepted, oh, there's drug use there. Okay, but I knew guys who did it, and I didn't. That's your decision. But when I started realizing these guys were using cocaine and you know, they're dieting, and there's drugs that you can take to rip the fat off your body. You know, I won't say his name, but he was on a few magazine covers, and he got to be a really good regional bodybuilder. He never got to the nationals. He did, but he kind of got wiped up. And he took thyroxine, and you know that's a stimulant, like the thyroid gland. I never saw. He was not fat. He was known for being sliced. He just had a weird body, right? I remember the time somehow he took a little too much, and his face was so sunken in. Now you know when you see these guys full and big, and their face is sunken in before the prejudge, you're like, oh, this guy's sliced up. You can see it in their face. Right? Yeah,
that's how Dorian Yates used to be.
Yeah. No, this guy was worse than Dorian Yates, but not as big. But he was big because he was sticking to drugs. And he went into the locker room. So he was messed up. It was another week before the show, but he couldn't do it. He was too weak. His metabolism was speeded up. You don't take it and say, I'm going to stop now, and it just stops.
Once you peak with it, you got to go on stage. You can't say, well, okay, it's like 2 weeks out and you there. Try to maintain that for 2 weeks. It's gonna be you're gonna be like, man, the hell with this.
But when you got
where's that sweet potato pie at? You can't. Yeah,
exactly.
But like you said, when you peak, once you peak, and it's like 2 weeks out, like you ready to go on stage. It's going to be tough. That 2 weeks is going to be the hardest 2 weeks of your life.
Because it's hard for the body to stay that way. It's an extreme condition. You have all this muscle. You have very little fat. You're not made to be. I mean, we have guys with fast metabolisms and stuff. But your peak, even when you're not on drugs, it's hard to maintain. And I did the whole year of 82 getting better as time went on. And so the drug guys that I competed against, they couldn't hold it because their body was hypersensitive. They'd eat one thing, boom, and they blow up and hold water. Let me tell you something. That picture that you see me in all the time that I always put up
on the stage.
A week before that, on stage. After I went to the couples competition on October 2nd, this show was on the 10th and 11th, 11th and 12th. Well, a week later, I went to the Chinese food joint, and I went to a bakery the next day. Tore up some food, got off of it. Because I had metabolic momentum where my body was moving so fast. You do that and it really doesn't, you get a little puffy, but at that age, it didn't affect me. As a matter of fact, it was bad food, but the calories in it rejuvenated me. And I just trained and maintained, and guys couldn't hold it. There's a guy named, a Greek guy named Gus Gialis or something his name. I Googled him. He owns a restaurant in Tampa. I thought about going over there to see him, you know, I changed my mind because I heard he was all racist and whatnot. And I kind of had that feeling when I heard it from other people. Now I'm not going, because he was pissed. He beat me. I won the middleweight class. He won the light heavyweight class in the Mr. East Coast in May 15th, 82. I'm one of them old men. Well, I'm old, I'm going to remember everything, right? So here we are on this show, which was natural. And I heard that an envelope was handed under the table because I'm like, yo, he is not going to pass the drug test, the urine test, and maybe the lie detector, right? But this guy was juiced. I looked better than him. He beat me, but he was big. He was cut. I could see how he beat me, but he wasn't beating me now. And he just knew he was going to walk in there and get a title because everybody who was at the age of 19 had a limit because we wanted to win something before we turned 20, which would help us with a little notoriety when we go into the open division. Because see, I was going to ride this whole thing out. When I saw the activities, I was very disappointed. And not depressed, but disillusioned with everything. And that's why when I went into that show in April of '85, I told my friends, this is my last show, and I'm probably not going to train no more. And I can't say I shouldn't have done that, but it was me focusing on bodybuilding the sport, the politics, the gym owners, and who, if they don't like the person that owns the gym you train in, used to catch it too. You understand? So I should have just kept training. Because not compete, eat a little more, rest. But 16 years old to 22, that was 6 years. I might have been about 80, 90 shows. Really, 2 weeks here, another week here, and just keep doing it from that age. So I know discipline, and I know a lot about this thing. Yeah, go ahead, brother.
Yeah, no, I was going to say it's politics all the way. I knew a brother. He was training his sister about 10 years ago. And I was at the gym working out. It's here in the U.S., and he said, man, I asked him, man, what you been doing lately? He said, I've been working with my clients, getting them for the shows, these shows, right? These bodybuilding shows. So he was helping his sister. He said, man, you're not going to believe this. He showed me, he had a little photo album, right? So he had her pictures out. He said, what do you think about her? He said, this is what she normally looks like, and this is what she looked like at the day of the contest. I said, that sister, she's spot on. I said everything looks like it's I mean he's from the days of volume, high volume. I'm more like of intensity of effort, So he was training her way, but it was working. I was like, man, she looks good, man. I said, what I said, what did she win? She won first place. He said she didn't even place.
Wow.
I said she didn't place. I said, what are you talking about? He said when she showed up it was an open contest. He said the sister showed up. One of the first things they asked her, who was her trainer and where did she train at?
And
when she told them, they was like, there's no way we're going to let you win this. Not even place.
Wow.
There's no way. And it was like, it was a gym. It was it wasn't a big franchise gym. It was like a one like these junior college type gyms. On the campus,
Right.
And they was like, no. They, in other words, they're like, no. He said she didn't even place.
See, that's what
that
they
girl
do.
Was so discouraged. She was so discouraged, man. I said, you kidding me? I said, at least second or third. He said, not even close, man. He said, not even close.
Another thing, if you do not go to bed with some of these people, you ain't gonna get it. That was another rule of the thumb. And I don't care who don't like it. I'm calling his name. Dick Roach. Richard Roach. He's got to be dead now. That man, he was nice to some who he was screwing around with. But if he couldn't get at you, you were screwed. When I won that show, upstate New York in Utica, later in that month, I went into the Mr. Eastern America in Martin Luther King Junior High School in Midtown Manhattan. There was some guys that I beat that they fell off a little bit in their diet. You can tell. I stayed on it, and I was still training and everything.
And no steroids.
Huh? Say it again?
No steroids. Damn.
No steroids. You can do it. And it's weird because, all those dudes I beat, they fixed me because it was a different organization, and I won. See, bodybuilding like that, it's like social media American platforms that hate TikTok because they can't stop you because it's not American.
Was it the AU?
No, it was the MPC.
Okay,
they started
MPC.
MPC then. Because remember, it was just all about the AAU at one point, and they split up, and the MPC went their way. But although, now see, here's the thing: for a couple of years, the AAU and the MPC were running side by side, but the real deal was the MPC. It was like that's the real thing you want to go into. But because they still had Mr. America in the AAU and Mr. America in the MPC, but they called it the National Championships because it sounds classy, like the Mr. this and the Mr. that. That's just too corny, right? So, like they say with me, 1982 Teenage Mr. America. It was God. I don't want to. I say nationals. You know what I mean? It was a natural one because there were two others, AAU and MPC, that were basically the drug version. I was the natural version, and they didn't like the fact that I went up there and snagged it because Dick Roach did not like me from when I started competing in 1980 because he was trying me from back then. He was hinting at things, and I straightened him out. And then he called my house, got my number off the application. But he did it a couple of times. And I'm like, what are you calling me? I didn't say it at first because he's an official. I didn't know the deal. And he's talking. I said, wow, Richard Roach, he didn't act like a little rainbow dude. He actually was in working out on Wall Street. The dude had money, very smart guy, skinny white man that you would never thought did any athletics, but he did some type of martial art. And I heard he competed and had one of the best front kicks or something on the East Coast. But he would always call, not every day, but before shows, how are you looking? You should, manipulate your carbohydrate. I mean, this guy looked like he never lifted a weight in his life. What is he telling me? I'm learning my own body now. And then one day I was like, listen, I saw him at the show and I found out about him. He said, oh, how are you doing? I'd like to take you out. Like, he sounded, yeah, because he was trying me.
He's coming on strong.
Yeah. So
he's like,
but he just said it. He said it like he was a straight dude. Like, I'm interested in helping you out, but I knew what was up with that. I said, listen, if you even think you can take me out, I put my fist up. I said, I'm taking you out. Oh, really?
You know what, Lance? This slides right, and I know we've been talking about bodybuilding and everything, bodybuilding, nutrition, diet, but it really slides. It slides right into the subject of deception. And one of the things I was going to say was one of the key abilities to spot deception is you have to have knowledge of what you're looking at.
Yeah, yes. Tell us.
See, you had already peeped game.
For real.
To use the street lingo, you already peeped game about him. So when he was coming with what he was coming with, you were like, okay. He probably wasn't even expecting you to respond that way.
He thought I was going to be so fearful of his position that maybe not that I do anything with the guy, but probably thought I would like just, not want to be screwed over. So we played it that way, but I told him that. And then, once it was confirmed, I didn't need my father to help me out a little bit. Daddy, I'm scared to take you. This man should know. I was look, I might have been 19, but I was like, okay, the frontal lobe doesn't develop until 25, but I knew game from a long time with different things, but he kept hovering around me and others. So he called the house one time, and he didn't know. May I speak to Lance, please? Because after that threat, he still was going to try. Now my father got up in his ass, but that made it worse for me at the shows.
And him knowing the guy, he probably got turned on about that. He's like, oh, the chase.
Yes.
Oh, the chase.
Yeah. Well, he was like that. He was like a villain in a I'm going to take over the world type science fiction show, right? Because there was a white guy who was totally naive. This guy came from Pennsylvania. He moved to New York, and I've been in shows in Pennsylvania. All that whole Northeast thing. So he's there, and Dick Roach was helping him legitimately, but it was a price to pay. He didn't know it. He was like the devil. So, he's helping him. And Dick Roach knew bodybuilding now. He was interested in that. He knew a lot about it, although he didn't do it. So the guy improved over a year and a half time. And so they were cool. So Dick Roach decided, like, I'm not going to show myself to him. I'm going to get him, like when you got that fly in front of you and you're like, I'm not going to just jump, but take my time, get my hand close, whatever, bang. That's what he tried to do. So
that was like the wolf of Wall Street.
Yes, because he always had a professional suit on, an expensive. It looked conservative, wasn't loud, but he always dressed like that, no matter where you saw him, right? So the guy was like, "Listen, I really appreciate what you've done for me. You've introduced me to people that have helped me. You've helped me. I couldn't have ever done this thing without you. If there's anything," oh man, he probably said, okay, if there's anything I can do to show my appreciation. So he's like, I can think of a few things. But what is it? And then he said, he was like a villain. He talked like that.
Yeah.
So he had a sarcastic humor about him. He was a funny guy though. From a distance, like, it wasn't like I'm homophobic or, oh, get away from me. But for distance, he was a clown, and I liked his persona that way because it was funny, but I didn't like him trying to hit on me. So the guy was like, well, listen, just tell me whatever it is. I'll be glad to do it. I'll be glad to help you. And
Oh my God.
Clean up. So, let me think. And he's looking him up and down. So he says, I'm quite sure you have an idea of what I'd like to do. And look, this joke is talking like this. You know that's what it is.
He's talking like a vampire.
No. I don't know, but just tell me, and it's whatever. Well, yeah. So you walking in the trap even more, so he's gonna drop the cage man on you and lock you in. So this he said it just like a villain in a movie. So the guy said, listen, I don't know what it is. Just tell me what you want. You want me to tell you what I want? Yeah, just tell me. And he pointed his finger at him. And one of the shows I'm gonna show my face, I'm gonna show how it's more effective as you see it. You know what he said?
Right.
I want your ass.
Oh my God.
He said it like that.
Right.
Now, I don't know what happened after that because he told the story. He said, I ran out of there, but I heard something different. I want your ass. And he pointed.
What's that song from Michael Jackson when he opens up and says, your butt is mine?
Yeah, your butt is mine. Exactly. And he didn't point straight. You know how dudes like drop their wrist to say, oh yeah, he's a homo. And they drop their wrist like that. He dropped his wrist, but his finger went up. It was weird. It was weird.
Now, Lance, he told you all this?
Yeah.
The guy, the bodybuilder.
I forgot what his name was. Yeah.
Right.
But it was already confirmed. Now, there's other dudes that were prominent, that were close with him, a national level bodybuilder, who in that time everybody knew who it was. I was in the gym, and I said, yeah, something about Dick Roach. Yeah, don't go around him, boy. Your booty hole be lit up. That dude got mad. He's drugged up. You know, he was a middleweight / lightweight, ex-boxer, Puerto Rican dude. Dick Roach is not gay. You hear me? Don't you ever let me hear. You know who Jim knew? Because see, he was down with him, but he was extra macho.
Yeah.
Dick Roach had money.
Yeah.
And he'd have you up in there up in his place doing what you want, walking around all oiled up and whatnot, naked and whatnot. He bitched you out.
Now, you know what? Now hold that thought, Lance. Now, you know how we talk about people being deceived. Like we can establish that deception is when somebody knows something that another person doesn't know, and they use that lack of knowledge against them, right?
Yeah.
The person, remember that song, Use Me Until You Use Me Up?
Yeah, Grace Jones. Is that
right? Like the brother used to sing the song. He said, "Until you use me up." Well, now see, the guy that you were talking to, the Hispanic guy. See, he was in denial because he knew what was going on. He knew, but see, that's the other side of this coin, this deception coin. Some people know, and some people don't know. And this guy, he knew, according to what you're saying, it sounded like he knew what the game was, but he had to play it off. That it wasn't the case. I mean, and he is literally going to bat for this guy. Hey man, don't say that. He's not that, and he knows better. He knows. Man. Look. But you know what, Lance? Think about this. What do you expect from people who are looking and evaluating men walking up and down on stage with oil on their body and some holes and trunks? Right. And what do you expect from them? Yeah. I mean, what do you expect from people like, you know, some of us, we look at it from, you know, because, you know, as young men, we attracted to like superheroes, like Batman, Superman. About that. So we're looking at it from, okay, I see this guy. We know to get a body like that, it takes work. We as a man, as we're looking at it from a male perspective, okay? Right. So we're admiring the work that was put into this body, but we're not looking at it from a sexual standpoint.
Exactly.
Even though they're walking around in some trunks, you know, and you know they all greased up and all that, but we're looking at it from the effort that was put into, like a sculpture, like somebody making a piece of artwork. And we're looking at it and saying, wow, man,
and many
you know,
don't understand that. They don't
Right.
understand that. Mm-hmm.
Right. But we're not looking at it from a sexual standpoint.
Right. Right. And see, the world will actually see a gay bodybuilder and think everybody's like that. Okay, let me tell you of a big name that you maybe didn't know was gay. You know, Kai Green is straight up gay.
You know what? I'm not surprised because I've seen some stuff
Did
from
you see
him
with that
online.
Dress?
Yeah,
but
with the wig.
It's not about the dress that everybody saw. It's inside information, but he doesn't say, "Hey, I'm gay," but he lives in Brooklyn. You know, with all that he does, he's still in a straight up hood. You would think. And then now he hasn't competed since what? When he went against Phil Heath, but he's still holding weight. He's still doing that shit. He's still pumping them drugs, and he looks good as far as that age and everything. But what is he doing?
You know what? It's funny you mention that. It's funny you mention that because I can tell that he's got some issues from his childhood because he's very emotional. He's very emotional. Just like remember when he was on stage with Phil, and Phil said something to him, and he jumped into Phil's face, like they on the street, and Phil kind of smiling and looking around and all this other stuff. You could kind of, you know, when you say that, I can see that because he's a very emotional person, and he's so. I guess maybe with his philosophy and all his, maybe that might help him.
But he never answers the question. He never answers a question straight. If you ask him, "How are you feeling this morning?" "Well, as I gaze out of the window into the sky, the cosmos seem in a state of disarray." You know,
that's him. That's what I mean. That philosophical. Yeah. That's what I mean. It's like he and I figured that maybe he had a rough childhood. You know, may not had both parents at home. And he's trying to struggle and balance that in conjunction with his training and everything. Okay, I could kind of see that. But now when you come out and say it that way, because I've never really seen him with any women.
Right. He is. I mean, each his own. But what I'm saying is that bodybuilding, not everybody who's attracted to it, but bodybuilding attracts people lots of times who have had extreme trauma. And it's an extreme thing. It could be a body image thing. It could be a way of getting back. But I'm going to tell you one thing. Those who have those issues like that, they can be on drugs or not, but they can look awesome. And they look in the mirror and they do not see what you see. They see the person they're running away from. Guaranteed.
I've heard Phil Williams say that. Phil, I heard him say that. I mean, the man looked like $1 million on stage, but he said he still sees that small, skinny guy that started bodybuilding when he was a teenager, an early teen. And I said, "Man, look at you, man." I said, man, awesome shape and everything, striations and everything, but he didn't see that. You know, one of the best representatives of bodybuilding I have ever seen. I never really heard anything about him, like outside of bodybuilding. He's a family man. Was Lee Haney.
Right. He only thing, nothing on him now, but you know, he trained Evander Holyfield when he jumped up weight from cruiserweight to heavyweight and stuff like that. And I already knew then, like, okay, that's why Evander's sort of looking like that, because
do you think he was on anabolics?
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah.
That's from
I'm talking about Evander Holyfield, because I remember when he was training him. I remember that.
Well, look at him when he was a light heavyweight when he turned pro.
Right.
Look, here's the logic, right? There's money in different weight classes, when the multiple championships. The body is not made to order that way. Number one, you can do stuff, but when you're in it, look at it this way. You've been in this sport from probably single digit ages, or, you know, early on, maybe before a teenager. You're running, you're punching, you're sweating, you're doing everything against building muscle. You'll get muscle, you'll be lean, you'll look all right, but all of a sudden, after all these years, you're a grown man and you decide to put on weight. Now you're training and everything, but you're training doing bodybuilding exercises, but you're also still doing all this cardio, all this swinging your arm and skipping the rope. How you all of a sudden put on all this weight like that when the body cannot put on so much weight in a year's time? unless you're a
Right.
genetic freak,
And then he
right?
said he
Now
started
you're
having some
trapped.
heart problems, right?
Guess why?
Mm-hmm.
Guess why? You
The
can't mix with
anabolics.
that. Yeah, of course, because your heart grows too. That's a muscle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It
your
grows
organs.
too.
Yeah, your organs will grow
Yeah,
also.
all the organs grow big. And see,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know for a fact. I don't think it was just anabolic steroids. I think it was
Mm-hmm.
growth hormone. Because growth
Uh-huh.
hormone, when you take it, whatever happens is permanent. As
Mm-hmm.
far as, okay, say for example, in your DNA blueprint, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like the plans with the architect. The house is going to be this size. It's going to have this.
Right. Right.
Well, and Chris Dickinson had an issue also. Not to get off Lee
Mm-hmm.
Haney or
Mm-hmm.
Holyfield, but take a look at some of the pictures of Chris Dickinson around 82, 81, 82. Because after he won the Olympia, I think he quit. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Take a
Mm-hmm.
look. Take a look at his elbow. I'm not sure if it's the right one or the left one.
Mm-hmm.
The elbow was stuck out like 2 inches, 3 inches.
Mm.
The elbow stuck out. That's his bones. Growth hormone makes everything grow.
That's right. Right. Because as when you're born, the body throughout as you're growing up, your body secretes the human growth hormone, and
Exactly.
that determines how tall you're going to be or whatever. But when you reach a certain point, the body secretes less. Right.
Less, yes. And here you go
Less.
taking more in
Right.
conjunction with steroids, and you have this thing
Right.
going on. And you do
Right.
get more muscle. It violates the blueprint. Because
Right.
if your
Right.
plans for
Absolutely.
your house, you're supposed to have 3 bedrooms, you say, no, I'm doing 5, where they going to go?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be something
Right.
abnormal.
That's true.
Why do you think their
That's
faces
true.
look like that? Why do you think the women's
Right.
faces look like that? And
Right.
regular women like, oh, no, I will never do bodybuilding. I don't look like no man. You can't.
Right.
You'll look
That's
better
true.
because it's the muscle that makes the shape of the body.
You don't, and plus you don't have the testosterone. You have
Exactly.
testosterone, but not as much as a man does. Just like a woman has more estrogen, she has more estrogen in her body than a man. And that's why you see like some of these people who get out here and they start taking these shots, and it converts the testosterone into estrogen, and then you start seeing them with the soft voice and and their testicles. Right. I think it was Kevin Larone. He talked about he took so much testosterone, his testicles had shrunk up like marbles.
Mm-hmm. And see, here's the thing. Even these guys now doing TRT, testosterone replacement therapy, it's in such low dosages compared to what guys are taking, but it's still, and they say, oh, no, it's not like taking, we're only bringing your levels up. But why do they also ask you, there's a certain drug that goes along with it where it's a thing to stop you from the crash.
Is it an estrogen blocker?
Yes. They ask you about that. And it has something to do with do you want to have kids or not? Whatever. They ask you that because I know a guy who does, and I ask him a lot of questions. And then you still taking what, sustanol or some kind of, I forgot which one it is. There's other ones you can take. But they give you blood work. If your levels are very low as to what it should be, they'll bring it up. But my thing, these people continuously take this. You take it. What about your own natural supply?
True.
And when you get older, that's why some of these people look swollen, look all weird, whatnot. And when you stop, it's going to hit you harder.
Right, because your body is always looking for a balance, and if you keep taking this stuff, once it'll understand that okay, you got X amount of testosterone in your body, your natural production of testosterone will shut off. And when you get off that stuff, you'll be looking like, oh, like you're talking about. Once you get off of it, then you're looking like, oh man, what am I going to do?
Extreme depression.
I feel like
extreme depression.
Absolutely.
You feel
because your testosterone is shut off.
Exactly.
The natural
Serge
production.
Dubray had to take it to the day he died.
But
a lot of folks don't know that he had none.
Yeah.
So he still trained until he was like, I think he died at 83 or something like that. But he had to take it. There's some who had to take it because it stopped. And if you look at a list of who died, who are competitive bodybuilders that you know from complications of that, I don't understand why these guys want to do this stuff now. You want to know who I'm watching right now? And it seems like he don't give a F. Nick Walker. He don't give a damn.
Walker.
He got as high as 3rd, I think, in the Olympia. But just look that name up. And he don't care. It's like he don't care. I mean, he doesn't say it like that. Like, I'm not taking drugs, whatever. But you can see that he is all in with bodybuilding. And I think he don't care if he died young as long as he wins that show. Any of them right now.
You know, it's sad, Lance. And the thing about it is, compared to like 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, we know more about nutrition and supplementation.
Yes.
And I would tell guys, you can go into a health food store and there's all kind of stuff that you can buy that will help you maintain yourself. If you have a problem, a circulation problem, you don't need Viagra. Go get you some arginine.
Right.
Amino acid arginine, and you take about maybe 5 to 10 grams a day on an empty stomach or between meals, and you're gonna have so much circulation and seminal fluid. Man, you might put the woman in the hospital because the precursor to HGH, human growth hormone, is arginine. Like, you hear nitric oxide production. It's like you hear people say, "Give me a bottle of nitric oxide." You can't buy a bottle of nitric oxide, but you can get arginine, which when you take it and you convert it into nitric oxide, which produces the human growth hormone naturally.
What was it, like the late or early 90s? When it was legal, nitric oxide was a hot thing. Everybody was buying it, right? But see, here's the thing. It's not big business. It's not going to make money. It's like pharmaceutical companies want you sick so you can get their drugs. They don't want anything natural. Like I said, I know people in the medical industry who've told me that they have these big companies and send people out Africa, Haiti, all in the Caribbean, and pay off people to shut up about the natural remedies. And they want to really take that stuff off and have you sick. You know what I mean?
It's just like what happened with vitamin C. The drug companies, at one time, they wanted to take vitamin C and make it a drug.
Yeah.
And they lost that battle, because you can't take something that's already in the earth and say it's a drug. Now you can extract from it and add it to something and create a drug, just like DHEA. As we once we hit about 25 years old, the body ceases to produce DHEA, and DHEA basically is it's not anabolic, but it's like the mother hormone. It's a hormone regulator. It regulates the hormones. Now you can go in the store, health food store, and buy that over the counter. But at the same time, if you get too much of it in your system as a boxer, you could be penalized because it's not a drug, but you can still use it. But what I'm saying, what I'm trying to say is, that's how powerful it is. So, but what they don't, what oftentimes what happens, Lance, and you know this, the people who are touting these supplements, they never, like, if you look at the bottle of a supplement, okay, like it says, vitamin C, 50 milligrams, your daily recommended allowances. These numbers that you see on the back of these supplements are based on numbers from 1942. These are basically like to prevent like scurvy or beriberi or these certain types of illnesses. It's just enough, but it's not for maximum health, you see.
Right.
And that's why people have to go and do just a little bit more research, because, and I'm saying that to go back to those young guys that was in the gym, those teenagers, I say, guys, there's so much natural stuff on the market. You don't need anabolics.
They don't want to hear it, though. The insecurity is driving them. Instagram is driving them crazy. They see their peers looking a certain way. Yeah.
That's that deception. Because they think, I so-and-so is taking it. I need to take it too. I was talking to my wife one day, and we were just going over her workout plan, right? So sometimes she may see something on Instagram or Facebook, and she said, I want to do that too. And I'm like, you don't have to do that, because I guarantee you that exercise that they doing, they didn't get a body doing that. One of the biggest cons, this is a big con, in especially nutrition and in the fitness industry, these bands, these elastic bands.
Yeah.
You talking about a con.
Any old thing to make money and prey on the ignorance of people and deceive them.
Right. That's the deception. Because I said these bands are your body has when you do an exercise, your body has a natural strength curve that, you know, you should be, I don't mean to get too philosophical, too much into
No, it's
physiology,
okay. I
but
love the deep stuff.
whenever you lift a weight or you on a machine, you should always be weaker where your muscle needs to be weaker and stronger where it needs to be strong. So you have the
Right.
natural strength curve working. These bands that these people are using is just the opposite. You're stronger where you're weaker, and you're weaker where you're stronger. But when people see it, they get on Instagram and somebody doing it, then the person who may not fully understand what's going on, they'll look at it and say, oh, that's the secret to getting the body
And they'll
like that.
argue with you. They'll argue with you about it. It's just like this. Like you said, the strength curve. And let's take now curls, something people can identify with.
Right.
They do a proper curl. If you're standing there and you have a barbell or even dumbbells, because I don't like barbell, you know, it's restrictive. The dumbbells, if you know how to control them, it's better. You do your curl, and when you come up to the top, you pretty much allow your hands to go back away from you, and you crunch with a squeeze. And then when you come down, your hands don't have to stay that way. They come down slow. At the point in the middle of that, not the bottom, not the top, that's the hardest part. You see?
Right.
But now,
because
say for example,
your arms at a 90 degree angle.
Exactly. So now you see, you take cables. You go to a cable where you can do the crossovers. Where you go on one side,
right?
Grab it from the bottom. When you do the curl there, you get more resistance up at the top of the movement. Where with the dumbbells, you might get a rest on top, which you shouldn't allow yourself to do. But with the cables now, you start out as easy on the bottom. You start pulling up as harder. And that point is not at the 90 degree angle, it's when you're fully flexed.
Right.
So people don't understand how with different machines and different things, but you have to know how to proportionally use it for your body type.
We know, Lance, traditionally, I've always liked to use barbell curls, like the 45-pound bar.
Right.
If you notice, if you standing up with the bar down, touching your thighs, the bar is perpendicular to the ground, right?
Right.
So there's no resistance because gravity pulls down. So there's no resistance when you, like you said, when you're standing there. But as soon as you raise that bar up and your arms become parallel to the floor, to the ground, now, like you said, that's where that resistance is. But once you start, once you must get past that point and you raise the bar up towards your chin, now it's back to being a perpendicular again. Why? Because as long as that bar, the bar hasn't, it already passed through gravity, what's called gravity. So you can stand there and hold the bar at that position and rest for about a couple of seconds and start lowering again. But as you lower that bar and your arms, your forearms become parallel to the ground, now you're at max resistance right there. And like you said with the cable, but see, here's something you mentioned about using the cable machine. You know how people face the cable machine, they do tricep press downs, right? If you turn around away from the machine and put one of those attachments where you can, like you would normally do, like the cable crossover, but you put one, you turn around, you face away from the machine so the cable's behind you. If you start curling, you're going to really feel coming out the beginning of that curl how much tension is already at the bottom before you even get to that parallel to the ground with that cable, with your forearm. That's that strength curve,
brother. You know your stuff, and it's refreshing talking about this. And we're gonna do a bodybuilding straight up show. I want to do that, and I want to ease into the deception because you know I can talk about this stuff all night. And it's music to my ears to speak to somebody who really knows what they're doing. I'm not saying I'm a guru and I know everything, but you're the real deal. You're the real deal. I appreciate that.
Well, I thank you, Brother Lance. And, you know, all of it has been just growing up and being around this stuff and reading the magazines and just listening to people and just, you know, it's the key to overcoming the deception in whatever you do is knowledge and information. Game recognizes game. Game recognizes game.
That's right.
Game recognizes game. You know, I know maybe some of the listeners are waiting us to really get into the whole thing with the deception with males and females. You know,
Right,
that's
right,
the
right.
real, you know, the spicy
Well,
part.
you know what? I have some bulleted points that pretty much covers damn near everything, and it's not everything, but
Hmm.
I'm gonna start out with this list. We
Okay.
got the spirit. And I just say what it is, and we'll just talk about it for as long as you want to do. I got
Okay.
30 points here. I got it
Yes, sir.
on a physical level, physical deceptions, mental deceptions, and spiritual deceptions. You
Mhm.
choose which list we should go down first, and we have about 10 for each one, so it's 30 altogether. So we have mental deceptions, spiritual, and physical. So which
Let's
one you
go.
choose?
Let's start with the mental.
Okay, cool. All
Let's
right,
run straight
I'm gonna
out the
read this
gate and
first
start with
one.
the mental. Okay.
Right. Mental deceptions, gaslighting. Manipulators
Oh,
distort your perception of reality, making you doubt your own sanity and intuition, which erodes your self confidence. Talk to me about that. I'm gonna run and gaslight this toilet real quick with the. I've been
right.
drinking a lot. And I'm not trying nothing else. I'm just.
Uh huh.
I drank a lot of water today. Keep talking on that one. I'll be right back in 90 seconds. I can hear you, but I'll be way down the hall. I'll be right back.
Okay. When you mention gaslighting, there's two main places where I see a lot of gaslighting today. One is in the media, the major media, and two, I see a lot of gaslighting on the social media. When I see the like, for example, what's going on in the Middle East or what's going on in over in Ukraine, for example, I definitely see a lot of gaslighting when it comes to these conflicts. Now, in terms of social media, I've noticed there's a lot of gaslighting when it comes to these TikTok videos and these shorts where it deals with men and women issues. Because I've noticed, I see a problem. Like, for example, you may have a female, and this is not an attack on the females, but I'm just showing you how I see it happens. You may have a female, and she may have a long laundry list of what she expects from a guy. You know, he's got to do this, he got to do that, he got to do this, he got to do that. And then a man will say, well, okay, I can understand where you're coming from, but this is my list of what I expect from you as a guy. And then the female would turn around and say, "Well, the list that what you're being unreasonable. You're being what you call it that's toxic masculinity. Well, you're doing this, you're doing that, and in other words, to imply that what I have on my list is far important to what you
Yes.
have on your list.
Yes.
So in other words, you should just forget about what's on your list and what your expectations are, and you should just cater to me, and what I
Yep.
want."
Even when you bring them facts, their
Yeah,
emotions dictate what they think reality is.
right.
And the
Because I'm seeing
gaslight. Yep.
I'm seeing a lot of that because, and like I said, we're not here to put anybody down. I would think that we're trying to raise the level of consciousness within people, because I see a situation. It's like I'm seeing, Lance, a lot of them, because we have had this the last couple of generations where we have had children growing up not in a complete home with a mother and a
Exactly.
father in terms of married. We
Mm-hmm.
have a
Mm-hmm.
mass generation of young people born out of wedlock, and I
That's
see
right.
these male, especially where the males are concerned. There is nobody in the house to teach the boys how to be men. Your father, the father is the one who sets boundaries for
That's
the
right.
family, and the
Right.
mother is the support base of that.
Right.
So, because
That's
I
right.
remember when I was young and I was cutting up, and when I would get out of control, my mother couldn't handle me. All she had to do was say, "Wait until your father get home."
Exactly.
And I'm like,
Exactly.
"Oh, I'm like, oh shit." Oh, then why did she say? She said, "Wait until your father." Okay, fine. Wait until your father gets home. You know, dad
That's all they
comes
have to
home
say.
and the bullshit stops. That's real.
Exactly. That's right.
You know, when I was watching like Good Times, and some of the people I like to read the comments, and people when John Amos was on there, like on YouTube, and people say,
Yeah.
man, we need more men in the house like that. He said fathers was like that. I said when we was coming up, fathers didn't play.
They did not play.
They didn't play.
There was no negotiating, no negotiations.
No, none whatsoever.
It's very important. But that's why they want to take the father out of the black home.
Yeah, I remember like during the week, like, you know, we'd be out there, kids playing in the street, and my father would like come on the porch, and he would look, you see him, and you make eye contact with him, he'd just move his finger, like it's time to come in the house and study. 6 o'clock. We had to study for 2 hours. Now on the weekend, like Saturday and Sunday, he kind of, well, at least Saturday, he kind of gave us a little leeway. But by the time Sunday roll around, after we have family dinner, we sit at the table and eat dinner, then we have to study.
Right.
You see,
right.
Because he set those boundaries, and that's one of the problems. And I'm saying that to say, for the young men today, the father is like, he can see something, like, because, you know, it's nothing like experience. So when a young lady comes into the young man's life, the father, but more so, the mom, more so, but the father can peep game, and he could say, son, I don't think this girl is good for you. Oh, Dad, man, I like her this and that. She's son, I'm telling you, I see some things in her that she's not for you. And mom can definitely see it.
Right.
Because women
at
know
that
women.
age, we didn't see it because we were bedazzled by the physicality and the feeling and the romantic whatever. Because, you know, the sexual stuff, if there was any, that would blow your mind. You know, let me tell you something. I told this guy, he's a black guy, and what I'm about to say is really not about the white girl he was messing with, but he was messing with this white girl. And when it came to discussions of how the world is, racism, everything, we know everybody's not a certain way, whatever. But I told him, I said, the world ain't all perfect now because the white girl gave you a blowjob, man. You got to come out of that. He was so mad at me. You know what I mean? I mean, these things can throw you off.
Right.
You know, so we need that. And because that particular component is very important, necessary, mandatory component of fathers and fatherhood, that alone is a deficiency that is making us sick. Just like when they say, you know, you have a certain deficiency in a vitamin, and if you do, certain ailments or minerals will creep up on you. Well, look what happened to us. It's not just because of that. It's a whole lot of other things, but that is a major thing. That if even we put that back and didn't deal with any of the other things, 90% of what we got going on right now would be put back and restored.
It's like having osteoporosis of the brain. You know?
That's what it is. Let me look on the next thing. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna jump between the mental, the spiritual, and the physical, because we stay on one list, it might just, for some people, I can't wait to hear the other one. So
it has to be a part two.
Right. So of course, there's the jump up. I'm gonna do number one on each list, number two on each list.
Okay.
We're gonna go to the spiritual deceptions, false gurus, and spiritual leaders. Many self-proclaimed spiritual leaders exploit their followers for personal gain. They present themselves as enlightened beings, but are driven by ego and material desires. And anybody who follows this platform knows that 2 years ago, a little bit over 2 years ago, hey, he's called out. Dr. Kang had me fooled. He was good. He had me fooled.
Who is this?
He bobbed Dr. Kang from Cameroon, and he was a guy who can look in your eyes and tell you exactly what you're going through. Or if you don't know you're going through it yet, he's going to tell you where the problem is. He would do this over the phone, FaceTime, talk to you. You pay him some money, and he's going to do it. He would speak around different places. I've been all over with him, Maryland, DC, down in Texas, Houston, twice. I stayed with them, him and his woman, and she had to spill the beans. We did an interview where she exposed him. He raped several women under the guise of, you know, I need to have sex with you. That's the only way we can get these demons out, right? And so much more. I'm gonna repost that video. I'll probably drop it in the comment section of this one so you can hear her interview, which was very, very touching, and how he manipulated. But he definitely was. He wasn't the one who did the herbs and stuff, which were excellent and good. It was her putting it together. He didn't have 6 people in his warehouse like he claimed. It was her who was doing all the work. And then he ruled over her. Didn't want her to wear nice clothes, had to wear one outfit all the time. Weird things I picked up on. And I'm like, I was kind of I stayed up there for 2 weeks with him, going all over, spending money on everybody, flying people in, you know, had a whole party bus full, flew everybody in, accommodations, you know, Airbnb mansions and stuff. People know. And I took a lot of those videos down. Yeah.
Just to comment on that, Lance, because this is something that's very dear to me that you're talking about, the spiritual deception. You know, I think one of the reasons we have problems in the society is, and this is not just black people, this is white people, this is society in general. It's a lack of knowledge. It's a lack of knowledge of self, and what the people of so-called organized religion have done. They have destroyed the minds of the masses of the people to tell them, and I'm not trying to attack anybody's religion. I'm attacking the falsehood that's been put out here on the minds of the people, that human flesh is sinful. That's one of the biggest lies that was ever told to human beings. Because how can human flesh be sinful when human beings have the ability to make choices?
There you go. So you screwed by that philosophy. You screwed from out of the gate.
Yeah, because it teaches you and I, the listeners, teaches that something inherently is wrong with us. Inherently.
Exactly.
And if we can't make the mark, I mean, I have seen people, religious evangelists, say this. They say, yes, human flesh is sinful. Then they'll say, but. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. You just, for the last 5-10 minutes, you done told people that their flesh is sinful and they're born in sin. But then you said, but. Well, what? When you say but, you have negated everything that you said before that.
That's right.
So which one is it? Which one is it? Is it is or isn't? Well, but if you do this, if you buy my thing for $99.99, I can show you. I mean, just a hustle, just hustling the people. When you know, go commit a crime, and when you go in front of the judge, well, young man, young lady, why did you do that? Well, I was born in sin. Oh, really? Well, I'm gonna give you some time in jail to think about it, to be born again. This is a hustle that I'm telling you, brother, this has destroyed the mind of the Western world people with this falsehood. When in reality, human beings have the ability to make choices, and we can make choices that are good. We can make choices that are bad, but the choices that we make is based on knowledge.
Well, hopefully, you know what I mean? Some are reactionary, but yeah.
Right.
The right way is knowledge.
Right.
Yeah. You're right. I'm gonna take this next one. We'll go down to the mental, the physical. Physical deceptions, hidden agendas in relationships. Individuals may enter relationships for selfish reasons, such as financial gain or social status, while presenting a facade of genuine interest.
Lance, we could talk on that all night. That's an all-nighter. We'll be talking about that from here until next month. You know, one thing, people, we have to be honest with ourselves. Human beings, we all have needs.
Yeah.
We all have needs. And the best thing, again, going back to knowledge, is awareness. And I had said the other day, I said, we live in a society where people don't need each other like they used to, like the time when your parents were, you know, coming together, my parents coming together. But people still fundamentally have needs, fundamentally speaking. And sometimes, I guess, to get those needs, we want the easy way or the easier way. And I think it all depends on it all just depends on how people go about it. So that's I mean, we all know this. We know, we see people using other people every day, and some people
And don't
like to
even
be
know it.
used, unfortunately. Yeah, and don't even know it.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
it's still going to be one of those kind of things that everything is based around knowledge and knowing how the game is played,
Right.
and not lying to oneself. And if you see, it's like getting involved with like, I remember one time I got involved with this female, and I had a gut feeling that it wasn't going to work from the beginning, but I still pursued her. We were involved, but something said, "Hey, man, you need to get out while there's time." And I was like, "No, I'm all in." Until finally, it got to the point where it says, "I got to let this go." I said, "I can't do this."
Yeah.
I said, "I've tried, I have tried, I have tried, and I have tried." And the girl was drop dead gorgeous. She was drop dead
And
gorgeous.
that helps to sway you. Not that you were fully caught up with that, but that does have an effect. You see what I mean?
Yeah, it
and see
does.
What happens is,
because that's when your ego get involved. Right. Say, man,
and
I got me a fine woman.
We give them a pass. We fill in the blanks with our mind, and we give them a pass on what we think they could be to us, and they don't even have that in them, and it sways you.
No, we let them live in our mind rent free.
Exactly.
And I was like, because I used to take her out to places, and people be looking. They see us together, and I said, I know for the most part they're not looking at me. They definitely looking at her when they were guys. And I was like, oh man, I got me a fine one, boy. Whew, damn, she fine. But she was she was a lot of problems, and it just wasn't meant. It wasn't meant to be.
Because they get a pass lots of times because they're also fine, and people just give them a pass and they don't develop properly, and they expect this after a while. And if you want to see a miserable woman, get one who is getting into older ages and has not grown because of the passes that she was given, and she expects this, but her looks are diminishing, and she doesn't know how to handle life without that. You see what I mean? So that's a very cranky situation.
Yeah, it is. And you know what? In all fairness, it's got to be rough on a female who's exceptionally beautiful, and she has to deal with that, dealing with men, because everybody, is trying to talk to her and everything. So I could imagine it's got to be tough, on a female. Yeah. But sometimes it's you got to listen to your inner self. And sometimes I think you have to learn that. For me, that was a learning process. So even though I could sit here and say, yeah, well, I should have got out of it early on, but in some ways I needed to go through that. Sometimes you got to go experience the bitter to appreciate the sweet. Right. And that was one of those situations that I had to go through to benefit what was best for me later on. But I was playing a little mind deception thing with myself, because I was in all the way, brother. I was in all the way. Yeah.
Look, we all go through that, to a certain degree. And at least for you, you had the character enough to be able to pull away and evaluate what was happening while feeling the pull. That's growth. That resistance from within, but your mind takes over and says, I got to, I can't let this run me this way. Not because of that, but it's other things too, So it is what it is. Which one did I just do? Okay, we're going. The top of this is spiritual. We just did one of those, but we're going to go on the second one on that one. Energy vampires. Some individuals are drawn to your light and positivity, not to uplift themselves, but to drain your energy. They leave you feeling exhausted and depleted after interactions. I've done so many shows on that.
You know what, Lance? When you said that, I'm gonna get a little selfish. Well, I don't want to call it selfish because, like I said, as human beings, we all have needs. I'm not going to say this person's name because they are a good friend of mine. So I'm not going to mention her name.
Right.
But she's a friend of mine. Sister, smart, intelligent, very Afrocentric. Sister wants to move to Africa. We talked about that. She said she wants to move to Africa, and sister has her master's degree. She's thinking about working on her PhD. Very smart sister, single woman, and she used to date this brother that I knew. She introduced me to her boyfriend because I knew her when she was single, and the boyfriend ended up. He was an older gentleman. He ended up passing away. So. After the boyfriend passed away, she kept calling me, and I would talk to her on the phone because I sympathized with her loss, her loss of the boyfriend and everything.
Right.
But the sister kept calling me. She would call me every day, and it got to the point where I said, I didn't want to be rude and say don't call me because we have a history of a friendship. But I told her, I said, I tell you what, if you want to reach me, the best time to reach me is like Friday in the evening or like Sunday in the afternoon. Okay, but the sister, she still
dominate every Friday and Sunday. Like
well, that's what it started to be. That's what it started to be. She just kept calling, and I had to literally cut it off.
Yeah,
I had to, and I didn't want to do that.
Right, you're not that kind of guy, but
occasionally she would call, and I would still talk to her, but I started talking to her less, because the point is, I don't mean to sound selfish, but we got to deal with the reality. I'm nobody's tampon that you dump your problems on. I don't want to hear about your problems. I'm saying,
here's the thing.
Emotional
she
tampon.
Didn't let you talk about anything that you wanted to talk about. It wasn't, it wasn't given back. You see what I mean? Like, but they just keep coming and coming and coming. They go all down the line about this one and their family. It's like, wait a second, you dumping on me. And you see them ringing the phone, like, oh God, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to pick up. Oh God. Because they're not receptive to say, okay, I just want to say this to you. We'll have a little long conversation if we can another time. I just want to say this to you and I'm out. Now, if you want to say, hey, come on back, we'll talk a little more. But when they talk, they ain't getting off until you're completely drained. And they don't realize that they're the only one talking. And it's like a balloon emptying out.
It was physically, emotionally draining, because I was like this. If we were dating, and I don't mean to sound ugly, but if we were being intimate with each other, like I guess you could say a booty call or something like that. She said, "Hey, I just want you to come over. I'm lonely. Come over, spend a little time with me. We sit down and watch Netflix or whatever, do whatever. We sit down and have dinner." Then I would have more than likely did that.
Right.
But if we not, she grew up in a single parent home, and she didn't understand. It's like if a father tell a daughter, unless you want to get involved with this man on a serious level, don't call him. Don't bother him like that. Right. You see, and she never got that. She never got that memo. So
she had to cut it off inside of her female energy.
Because I understand that. That's understandable. Because what did I say earlier? I said human beings, we have needs.
Right.
So I wouldn't have I understood that, but the reality of it is, if we're not involved with each other, I don't want to hear it, because where is this all leading to? And I'm nobody's emotional tampon. I always say, I hate to say this, last. I never like to be like a person who say I hate to speak the truth.
It's the truth. Some people need to hear that, because they will take, not realizing. It's like a person who they're at a house party and there's a buffet laid out, and they make sure to kill the macaroni and cheese like nobody else wants some. You know what I mean? That's ridiculous.
You know, it's like telling my son and my nephews, I would tell them, and I hate to put it this way, but it has to be understood because women have to understand this. I said, you don't want to be the guy that she calls at 12 o'clock in the afternoon to come move the refrigerator from the basement to the third floor with no elevator. That's a two-man job. You want to be the guy that she comes over to tighten her up.
And they will friend zone you and categorize you that way. Also, a lot of them will keep you on hold, tease you just enough to keep you around, whether you're going there or not, around where they can talk to you, pick up the phone, the maintenance thing. And the poor guy's thinking that it can be more, not just sex, but, you know, we can hang, we can chill. And she's doing this with 5 or 6 different guys. You're part of the backup plan. You see?
You know, even if you all were dating, if you were coming over to tighten her up and she called you and say, hey, I need your help to move this refrigerator. At least you would say, well, because at least you say, well, I am kind of getting something out of this per se, and she do need some help, and it's the best thing to maintain this relationship. So then I mean, I wouldn't tell a guy just blow the sister off. I said, you know, don't just blow her off like that. No, don't do that. You know, at least help her. You know, she needs, because like I said, human beings have needs. But you don't want to be the guy that's moving the refrigerator, but she would never call you for anything. You know, you don't want to be that. You don't want to be that type of guy.
But she's calling you to say, listen, come over. I'm having a nice little dinner. We can do the Netflix thing. Maybe you didn't have sex per se, but do something other than just call you when they want to dump on you to make you that tampon. It's like she's on a period every day of the month.
Every time I come over here, you on your period.
But there's that clown that's going over there and tightening it up. Now, we're not saying it's just about sex, but you want the benefits of a man, but you don't want to give the benefits to the man. It doesn't mean tit for tat, but it's not a balanced, gradual opening of the relationship. Because look, let me tell you something. I'm not going to say it all comes down to that. Anybody in the right mind, they would say, okay, this woman's intellectual, is okay on the spiritual level. It may not be a religious thing, but she understands certain divine laws. You know, she's mannerable. She doesn't have a lot of people around her. You look at the different attributes, and she's going to do the same thing. Women check out men all the time. Men check out women all the time. In those few split seconds, even if it's in public in the Walmart line and he's on the next line and she's conjuring up, or he may be conjuring up some kind of, not just a fantasy, but like, wow. We see, look, when you go to the department store to pick up some clothes, buy some clothes, don't you know so many people have gone in the dressing room with that one item and change, put it on, but it's the person who really wanted it that got it. So you don't think that it's going to be every single woman is going to have to tighten her up, whatever. But the thing is, it's a natural thing. So if you, as a woman, you're holding back, but you want this man to open the floodgates of his masculinity, masculine energy, wisdom, whatever. It's not like, well, just your sex is worth that. No, because you got to have more than that. You understand?
True.
Granted, that's how we're talking. It's got to be where you are compatible or agreeable on a mental and spiritual level that way. You know, so when they do that, it's like, wait a second, you know, and it's not like I'm going to beg you or ask you, but you should know that if we have this kind of thing where I'm here for you all the time, unless we state this, it's okay to state it and say, listen, I'm not ready for a physical relationship. I'm really not ready to be in a relationship with a man, but I do need a man in my life. Okay. Right. And so she already knows that it's only going to go but so far. And she knows she can only go but so far because she's not open, and the both of y'all got to be open and all in. Even if you have an adult type situation where we're going to be open and all in until or unless we get to that point, or one of us kind of finds whatever. But remember, when you're dealing with her, she ain't gonna find nobody, because see, you putting your imprint on her and she's putting her imprint on you. So you have to be very mature about this, because I don't care who you messing with, them soul ties start to form whether you like it or not. I've always said it before. It could be a drop dead gorgeous woman and it could be a fat dude, 300 pounds, 4'10", breath smelling like Limburger cheese and farts. And if he's going down on her every night and having sex with her every night, if she sees him with somebody else just walking down the street next to them, who you talking to? Who you messing with? But the world wouldn't think that she would get like that. That's the way this thing is with chemistry and bonding. So you got to be careful as you walk down that road, because see, now there's a lot of brothers who go over to move the refrigerator, who help the woman move, who pick her up when her car is jacked up, who is a backup with her financially. It's like, okay, whatever. And they don't know that it's not that. He's thinking that, well, it didn't happen yet, so, you know, I'm the one. But she ain't looking at you that way. And then when the man gets hurt, who may be emotionally unstable, sees the next dude going up in the apartment, which he's not going to pop up, but they were close, and he bought something for her and said, well, let me just swing by, whatever, my cell phone battery died. And she's hugging the guy up half naked in a robe that's opening up, and you already know what's going to happen. And the guy go up there and kill the both of them because he's unstable. You have to state along the way, how do an evaluation like you're doing a job. Okay, this is this is what do they call it? Not probation. Probationary period. Yeah. So this is after 90 days. You really hired now. So you fronted. If you're a fake person, for the first 90 days, if you are real and genuine, that's who you are. You'll never have another problem with it. So every step, don't go in a relationship, let time go by. And I'm not saying you're going to sit there with a checklist and we're going to sit down or whatever, but have a time where it's Sunday afternoon, relaxing time, and say, listen, sweetheart, we need to evaluate where this is going and how you feel about me, how I feel about you. There's no push to say, oh, we have to be together or we don't have to be together, but it's healthy that we know where the blip is on our individual radar screens.
Yeah, because that's very, very well stated, Lance, because it didn't have to be, well, he got to come over there and break a sweat to move a refrigerator. It could be, well, the cable guy's coming over and I just hook up my cable and I just want to make sure I have a man here so that he's doing things that he's supposed to do. So, you know, four eyes are better than two. So we can just, you know, make sure he does what he's supposed to do and leave.
A pair of fists. That's right.
Right. Because like I said, it takes a man to repel or stop another man. Because like I said the other day, a woman will make up a man in her mind just to stop another man from approaching her. She'll be like, he's like, excuse me, excuse me. Yeah, I was just noticing that you were over here doing so and so and everything, you know, woo, woo, woo. And she said, oh, excuse me, sir, but I'm engaged. I got a boyfriend. Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Well, you know, I was just noticing, you know, doing something like that. But thank you anyway. You take care of yourself, okay? And the girl, I just want to give a shout out. I just want to give a shout out to Rightly So. I just saw you in here. I'm gonna put your name up there on the screen. I'm glad you're here listening. Go right ahead, brother. Keep going. I'm sorry to cut you off. No, I was just going to say that, you know, for her, she had to make up a man to stop another man from approaching her.
Right.
And she could just be a single woman. You see?
That's right.
Because only a man can stop or repel another man.
Exactly.
See? So,
the thought of it. Exactly.
Yeah. I think, well, I mean, I'm married now, but if I probably had a chance to go back and do it all over again, I probably would have just decided to say, hey, we need to talk about where this is going. You see, we need to talk about where this is going, you know, because, you know, like that, because it could have been that she had something going on too that she wanted to say, but because of, she felt maybe her existing circumstances, she might have not have felt right at that particular time to say what's on her mind. That could be the case.
And see, it keeps her from going off. See, she could be thinking one thing completely, and you could be thinking one thing completely different, right? This helps to keep things in line. Even if you are in another direction with the relationship or the union, it can be still cool. But you have an idea where she is. And she has an idea of where you are. It doesn't mean like, honey, where are we going with this? And some pressure to get married if you're not going to get married. But even when you're single and dealing, you have to know where the person stands, because emotions can change. Because listen, how does it go from meeting a person and you're attracted to them? In times, you know, things happen different ways, you know. You can be around somebody a long time and not think of them that way. And all of a sudden it's like floodgates open. You're like, oh my God, wow. Sometimes it can be almost instant where certain attractions happen. It happens in different ways. If you're used to it happening a certain way in your life and it hits you a different way, you better get a grip on yourself and you better let the person know. You don't have to come and say, I think you're the greatest and I want to marry you and have babies. And she might be looking for a one-night stand or just something to hold her down until whatever. Don't pressure anybody, but and say it that way. I'm not pressuring you. I enjoy the time with you. Let it go where it's going to go. But I do have some more feelings probably than you already know. I'm just letting you know, but I'm still going to operate the same way we do. And don't be afraid to open up if you feel that way too. But there's no pressure for anything. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, I would say the only challenge with that, Lance, is that if this is somebody that you've known for years and you all went on like friendly or casual dates, and all of a sudden you sleep with her, that's going to change everything.
Oh, that changes everything.
Everything is going to change.
And it can get really intense because you're already embedded in with their energy. Really a whole lot. They know a lot about you already, and now you do that. That opens up a whole different portal. And it can be problems now because the things that she let you, not that she let you get away with it, but you were friends and you might have said something about another woman or something, not disrespectful, but now it's different because now in her mind, you are hers, especially with that extreme down payment of a long-term friendship. No other chick can come by and beat that. Now you jump into the thing, which can be cool. It can work out. I'm not saying it won't work out. But you really got to be careful because you're not learning them the same way that you learn them if you just met them and there's an attraction and you're heading toward the bedroom and everything that comes along with it. Trust and believe.
Well, you know, I've been to her house and I've been into her bedroom, and I was just thinking as you were saying that, I could imagine
the panties on. T-shirt in.
I could imagine, Lance, I could imagine because I've been in her house. We're sitting there watching TV, and I could imagine I'm sitting there watching. She said, "Excuse me for a minute." She comes back in some lingerie.
Oh, she did that?
And no, I said I could imagine.
Oh, you imagining that?
Yeah. And that would have been scenario. Like, that's because those things do happen.
Right, of course.
And the sister was kind of top heavy like Dolly Parton, so.
Oh man. So you had a whole lot of vitamin D that night. Was that you? Was that you on the billboard with the Got Milk commercial? Got Milk?
You know, so because I've been to her house and met her family and everybody, her moms and
so you real comfortable.
Siblings. Yeah, absolutely. So what I'm saying is that would have just made things much more. Once you open those gates and let those horses out, it's hard to bring them back.
You can't bring them back.
Especially when you have a history with that person.
Right. It's like digging. Right. It's like digging a hole in the dirt, and you try to put the dirt back. It's a big lump too because it all can't fit back for some reason. You know what I mean? Now, see, I have a buddy. He's not super close, but he's close enough. He took it the wrong way. See, it's the threshold of the person's personality and the upbringing and all of those things factored in. You don't know what you're igniting when you go there with that person, especially after she was already comfortable with you and knows you, and those families know each other. That's like pushing it toward that anyway. Those magic moments, you know what I mean? So that shouldn't be a shock. But I had a friend of mine who was he was either in college or teaching at the college because he's a professor. But maybe when he was in college, I think it was when he was in college. And there's a young lady who was like so hard up for a ride, and it's about to pour down raining. So he didn't know her any other way except in school, and maybe they were around each other, maybe at the McDonald's or something for an hour on a break.
She was a student.
She was a student, but I'm trying to figure out if he was a professor or I think he was a student at the time. And this guy never learned, man. He just always got himself in trouble with women. You know what this joker did? He said, "Yeah, I'll take you home." Now, he wasn't an aggressive guy putting his hands on women and whatnot. He was actually shy. He was actually a guy who I would say, and I'm not saying I'm some great guru or some guy who has all this knowledge, but I could see, and I do believe he had problems meeting women. He didn't know how to approach. He did not know at all. And see, he said, okay, I'm taking you home. And when he got close to her, well, not close, she lived beyond him. He had to pass where he lived to get to her, probably 5 miles away. So he said, oh, before we get to drop you, I got to run into the house and there's something I got to do real quick. It ain't going to be 5 minutes, it might be 10 minutes, but I have to do this now. Maybe he said he had to take some kind of medication or something. I don't know, something he had to do. He came up with some story. So he's like, I don't want to leave you in the car like this. It's raining. You're just sitting there. It's going to get all hot. You know, I can leave it running. Come on in for a second. Okay. She's not thinking anything. This is a situation where she's not thinking anything at all. So he's like, well, listen, my basement is hooked up. I'm not trying to keep you here an hour or whatever, but look at something on TV for a little while. Here you go. Get the seatbelt. Let's get ready to rumble. He goes upstairs, and he's up there for like 5 minutes or so. And it's the same guy would tell another story too. Not the same exact type. She's sitting there, she's watching something on the screen, and all of a sudden she hears him coming down. This is a basement in New York City, right? Underground, but you see
the wooden stairs.
Yeah, exactly. So he's coming down, and she's watching, the movie, whatever. It's a little dark, raining outside, still the daytime, and she notices him through her peripheral vision, and she turned around. Why is this dude standing there butt behind naked, masturbating with a shit-eating grin on his face? Somebody. He gets a little time. He was naked. I mean, he wasn't even like, he took his clothes off way upstairs and walked down that way. Yo, brother, what was on your mind? You don't know her like that. See, this is what I'm saying with him.
She could, oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Did she file sexual harassment charges?
No, she didn't. She look, he jumped up.
Hey Lance, I hate to say this. He came down the stairs butt naked, doing what he doing, and said, "You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch."
but check it out. Now, this happened the next week. There's another thing that happened the next week. It's unrelated, but it happened the next week. See, his father was sick, and he had some type of cancer in his throat, and he had to talk through that thing that, you press it up against your throat. And he's saying, because see, that's another story with the father, because I felt so bad. But let me tell you this one first. So his mother's upstairs, and they had the house was divided up with separate apartments, although they were all family and shared the same kitchen. So the lady, the mother, had some people come over that were going to take her to church, right? This early Sunday morning. So if you're hanging out late Saturday night, you ain't gonna get up right away. And he would always spend time in the basement. So come on in, Lucy. Come on in, Pearl. I ain't gonna keep you waiting. Y'all just came a little early, so go on down there in the basement and watch something on the TV. All you can do is put the remote on, pick your channel, watch your TV. So the mother's upstairs on the floor right above. She didn't go upstairs all the way to finish showering and grooming. So all of a sudden, when she started to walk up to the stairs to go up to the third floor or the second floor, the church ladies, and they were in their 60s, and they were the 60s from back in the day where 60s was kind of old. You know what I mean? And they were running up the steps like they were trying out to be in the Olympics. And one fell at the top of the steps. The other, oh my God! The blood Jesus.
Hey, he down there with the mop.
No, you know what it is? He used to sleep with his eyes open, and he was on the couch once again, butt booty naked, with his penis in his hand and a big jar of Vaseline and a long porno movie playing, and ejaculate all over his leg.
Wow.
They processed that. I heard they were fighting to get the steps. I think the lady who was in front, she grabbed her legs and stepped over her, and they were out of there. And she was like, "What's wrong? Oh no, we'll meet you at church. You gotta find somebody else to come get you."
Oh God.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, the father now.
Damn.
I didn't know.
Hey, Lance. Remember your girl from Good Times? Damn.
Damn, I know. Now check this out. I call over to him because he used to do amateur movies, And I was
Oh
always in
God.
them, you know what I mean? Because I had the little muscles and stuff. I was always like the bad guy, right?
Right.
And it was pretty good. They're pretty good. He
Right.
entered them into certain competitions, and
Mhm.
they were like kind of cheesy, but they were interesting. And I wish I can get my hands on them, right? And I was like 15, 16 in them and coming up a couple of years. So, you know, because he was a friend of a friend, and it was an age gap. And so it's not like we hung out. We knew each other, and I considered him, but we had some falling out before. He crooked me. He did some things. But I called up his house, and I'm not making fun of the man, but I didn't know his father was, you know,
Mhm.
hello. I'm like, hello? Hello. I say, hey, what's up, RoboCop? What's going on, man? This is who are you calling for? I said, come on around, stop playing, man. You sound like a robot. This is not a robot. This is, and before he said it was, I almost said his name. Before he said it was
Mhm.
his father, the father, I'm ragging on him. And so
Oh.
this guy, he starts cussing me out like a robot. Who the F is this? Who the F is this? I will F you up. Calling my house disrespectful. And I found out later on that it was his father and that was the situation. But I was faceless because he was trying. He said, hey, this is before caller ID. Hey, Lance, did you call here earlier, whatever? I said, no, man, I ain't calling.
It wasn't me.
I
It
lied.
wasn't. They say, hey, it wasn't me. I ain't called.
And I was bragging.
You know, and he never went to jail for any of that. Well, I guess for particularly for the girl that was waiting in the basement.
Right, right,
Wow.
right. Exactly.
Wow.
Let me jump on another one. These are good, man. I like it.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Narcissistic abuse. Narcissists use charm and deceit to manipulate their victims, creating a false reality where the victim constantly questions their worth and reality.
Yeah. I
Narcissistic
mean
abuse.
that's self-explanatory, and even the narcissist will go as far as to say, which as it relates to a male narcissist, he'll even tell a woman that she's fat and there's nothing wrong with her
And
to
if she,
tear down her self-esteem because
right,
he's
but see,
afraid, he's insecure that she may get up and leave him.
exactly, right. But see, it's like grabbing on a bowling ball that doesn't have any holes.
Right.
If you don't have the insecurity, or I'm not saying it's major, but if you have a small crack in the dam of being secure, but he can fit his fingers in there, it's like you holding on to that bowling ball because you know the bowling ball sometimes is so big and so heavy, people grab the little 3 holes with their fingers, but they also have to hold it with the other hand, right?
Right.
So they look for those things in you immediately. See, when these
Mhm.
narcissists get around you, and we're speaking about a male narcissist and a woman, he doesn't approach somebody who doesn't have those holes like in a bowling ball. He can't feel.
Right.
He feels around. If he doesn't see a way in through one of the
Mhm.
cracks in the dam of maybe your insecurity or something you don't feel strong about, once he gets his fingers in there, that's a wrap. Because
True.
these guys, it's almost like it is a spiritual thing. See, when people hear the word spiritual, it's like, oh, it's spiritual, must be good. That's just look, it's like a radio, different frequencies. You can have ratchet hood music on one channel, a frequency, and you can have something decent on another. It doesn't mean it's good. And just like the drug dealer who's on the corner, where is approached by somebody he never knew before, and he can say, they come over here to cop drugs because you got that gift of discernment. People don't understand. Demons and devils symbolically have that gift of discernment and will use it on you. Narcissists use it. That's how they get their new supply. That's how they survive. That's how they keep on going. And they get rid of you and get somebody else fresh after they use you up because they're good that way. They're good that way. They're gifted.
Well, that's the thing, like with pimps. You know, pimps are masters at pointing out shortcomings in females. Because I remember I heard this guy, he was a pimp. He was being interviewed by Bev Smith some years ago. And he's not in the game anymore, at least when I heard the broadcast. And she was asking him, she said,
Right.
how is it that you were able to do this? And how was you able to do that? He said, well, in a nutshell, he said he spotted out women that usually had daddy issues. He said those were the women that he usually got to work for him. But he said women who tended to have a strong bond with their fathers, he said they were harder to get to. And in most cases, he would just completely give up on them. But the ones who had daddy issues, he said they were sauce for the goose. And he also said one of the things he would do, we're talking about the mental aspect of this, he said he would always tell them rather, that he loved them, but he would never show it.
Wow.
And he said he knew that to control them, he had to constantly be giving them something. So so with his mouth, he was telling them that he loved them. He put roof over their head because and to him they're an investment. So he has to protect his investment. So he said he would put roofs over their head, give them a place to stay, to have apartments or whatever. But in terms of resources, he said he never gave them money. He always bought them things, so that if he bought her a mink coat, he could always say, "Hey, let's go out. Why don't you wear that mink coat I bought you?" So at least he always knew if she had it, if she sold it to somebody. Because if she said, "Oh, I lost it, somebody stole it," they said, "Well, why didn't you tell me? When did this happen?" So he always kind of kept them in that corner of control. So he said, I never gave them money. He said, I used to always buy them things because as long as I would buy it, I always knew where it was. Oh, so that's part of the mental. That's part of the mental manipulation. Stuff is deep.
Real deep. Wow. Wow. Let me grab this other one. Man. This is addictive, man. I'm telling you.
I'm telling you, like I said, bro, we could be talking about this till next week.
I ain't got no problem with that. Number 2 in physical perceptions, exploitation of kindness. People may take advantage of your generosity and kindness, draining your resources without reciprocating. Did we do that one already? It sound like another one I did. I got so much of this stuff in my head. I don't think we talked about that one just now. Exploitation.
Yeah.
Okay.
People taking kindness. People taking kindness for a weakness.
Yeah. Right. And they keep going, and it's something like it's like a mosquito, or something just biting you and just keep on sucking. And you're looking at them like, wait a second. It's a shock that people have the balls to do this. Like you're really coming now. It's a shock, and you pause sometime out of shock. Not that you're weak. And you got to put your foot down. And then when you put your foot down, you're the bad guy. You see what I mean? Especially when they exploit you.
Well, I was going to say, Brother Lance, I remember I was talking to a brother. He and I were just having a conversation, chopping it up like we're doing. And we were talking about the book, The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene.
Love that book.
He was the brother, he was all into it. And I said, there's some good historical information in that book. It talks about different people and how they dealt with situations and all this. But I said you got to be careful, because in my opinion, it's good to know, so when you spot out certain kinds of behaviors, you can instantaneously pretty much say, this is what that person is on. You can spot out this narcissist type of these characteristics. But at the same time, I said you want to be careful, because you don't want to go out and start using that stuff on people.
And becoming that. Yes.
And becoming that. Yeah, because that's easy to do. It's easy to do.
Because it's powerful information, breaking it down like that, giving historic examples, and he covers it from so many different angles. And a person who was naive or hurt and naive, or hurt first, walking around and naive and realize they were naive and like, this is what it was. They become the monster. Yeah. It's the cat chasing the dog now, because they're going to use it and be venomous with it.
Especially if you're dealing with somebody who had been hurt by the opposite sex.
Yes. Now you found the key to be able to get back. Now you're empowered.
Yeah. Because like I said, you have monsters and you have monstrosities. You see. Like I said, a monstrosity is somebody that they're not a monster. They may not be what they should be. They still, a work in progress. But a monster will kill you, or use you up and kill you if need be. You know, take that woman. You know, take that old woman, snatch her purse, beat upside the head, and drag her in the alley and do something else. That's a monster.
Wow.
You see. You see. So you have monsters and you have monstrosities with males and females. Some of these women, they say, it's nothing like a woman scorned.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So some of these women are vicious.
Even if she wasn't
I
scorned.
said, hey, last hang out, be a fly on the wall in some of these beauty shops.
What?
And these
My
nail
old
shops.
girlfriend used to run a beauty shop, and I was so quiet that they relaxed after a while and let it all hang out. Look, you got that cat in the house that's full of mice, and after a while, if the cat don't jump, the mice will be sitting on top of his head. So that's the way it was. I was even involved in the conversations. They were talking about what they did the night before, how they licked this and sucked that, and how they gonna turn this man out and get his money. And listen, I didn't heard it all.
Yeah, you just sitting there, and
I'm like, what? I was always the guy that they asked the opinion of, you know. So Lance, from a man's point of view, I'm like, listen, when I give you an answer, I'm gonna give you my answer, but my answer might not be the average guy's answer. And I'm not putting myself on a pedestal. You gotta understand you're dealing with a different pedigree. But what I'm gonna do for you for a charge of $99.99. No, but what I'm gonna do for you, I should have charged, right? I'm gonna give you my answer, but I'm gonna give you the average, you know, guy out here, pretty much how he thinks, whatever. Because I'm a shark, but I don't bite nobody. I'm a shark seeing everything. I'm seeing the weakness. I'm seeing the strength. I don't take advantage of nobody. You know, it's almost like when you pump gas in the South way back in the day where they made you pay after you pumped it. And now New Yorkers started coming down like, what, you a fool like that? And you're gone. I don't do that. So I see stuff that I don't take advantage of growing up. And a lot of these women, look, I taught them some things too. And we got graphic, not to get graphic. Girls would come to me, women would come to me, especially in the beauty parlor. They call my old girlfriend, is Lance going to be there tonight? We going to talk. Listen, I wish I had a tape recorder. Those were some dope shows if I could have recorded them. Lance, what should I do to turn my man out? I said, well, what you mean turn him out? Just go to the door and kick him out. What you mean? Kick him out? Turn him out? What you? I'm playing dumb. And they would get all into it, and they were shocked at some of the things that I said. They're like, you out there? I said, no, I'm not. I'm in touch with myself. And all men may not be like me. I may not be like all men, but I do know the preliminaries because I've been around men talking freely about what they like, what they don't like, not just on a physical level, but the mental level, the spiritual level, and everything. And I'm telling you how it is. I'm gonna give it to you. I have no interest in you, lady. I'm not trying to talk to you to bed you down. You ask me something, I'm going to tell it to you. And now it's up to you to absorb it, try it out, look at it that way, and give me the results. I see it 2-3 weeks later. Lance, you were right. Oh my God, he thinks he's in love. I said, is he think he's in love or is he in love? Well, I don't know because, you know, I went all out and went on in. Time will tell. But he got something that he never had before.
You know, Lance, you know, like I said, growing up, I had girlfriends and I had, you know, a few one-night stands in my life. But I was never really a womanizing type guy. But a lot of guys that I learned about a lot of these things were guys who grew up in single parent homes, and they used to hang out with their mothers in these salons. And they would tell me about the stuff like the women would say and this and say, yeah, you know, yeah, he's coming over this, but I got it all, you know, strained out that, you know, it's only, you know, he thinks it's about the honey, but for me, it's about the money and all this other stuff. So a lot of stuff that I learned about women, the things like beyond like dating, traditional, you know, dating and stuff like that. I learned from guys like that, just sitting, just talking to them and just little things that people used to cue me in. And one of the main things one brother cued me in on, he said, you know, let's say, he said one of the downfalls, the big downfalls of men is their ego. See, women have egos also, but women have something a little bit worse. They have something a little bit worse than ego, and that's vanity. But in terms of men, because men, we don't wear makeup. We don't. What you see is what you get. But women, makeup. It's like the man who's the founder of Revlon. He's dead now, but he was quoted saying, he said, "We came out with makeup to make the woman that didn't look beautiful out there compensate her beauty, or something like he said something like that. Like, you know, like the women want to look like Marilyn Monroe, but they'll probably, not that she's gorgeous or nothing, you know, but I'm saying she was
Right.
out there. So in other words, they're saying we want to help the average woman per se at least get close to looking like her with the makeup. This is the founder of Revlon. So
Right.
but this brother told me, he said, the mistake a lot of men make is when a woman gives them a compliment and they let that go to their heads. And he said, "Oh, you're handsome. Oh, you got nice biceps. Oh, you got nice this." And he said when you know, basically you should be like, "Oh, thank you. Well, thank you for that. Thank you. I really appreciate that." And just leave it at that.
A lot of them go digging
Just
for more.
basically leave it at that. Say, okay.
Mhm.
But the guy's like, "Oh man, did you hear what she said? Oh, she said I was this, man. She said, man, I think she liked me, man."
And that's
How do
those
you know
dudes
that?
that think every woman likes them. Oh, she want
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
She looked at me and I saw through
Yeah.
a t-shirt, her nipples were hard. Negro,
Yeah.
it's cold outside.
It's 32 below.
They look for any excuse. Oh, she want me. That's when these guys mess up, because it's not like
Yeah.
that. My
Yeah,
thing
'cause
is,
they let their egos
it's like
get involved.
it's like a boxer. Oh no, not a boxing match. It's like a street fight. When that report is written by the police, I want it to be said that this person threw the first punch at me.
Mm-hmm.
Now I got the legal right to go in on you, and they'll probably give me a break because I'm defending myself and you hit me first.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with that being said, you know, let the woman give you the compliment.
Right. Yeah, you
Like
say,
you said,
well,
don't go off on it. Hold it in. Be conservative about it, and that's
Mhm.
intriguing to her because it
Mhm.
shows the confidence. You're really showing your insecurity when you go on all about something. It's like Eddie Murphy. You know, when you so hungry enough and never had a Ritz cracker, but you hungry in that cheap brand, that white box with the black letters, that tastes like a Ritz cracker. But you're not used to getting it.
Hey, Lance, the boxes look like the old Amway boxes. Remember them? The Amway with the white and the black and the gold stripe on it.
Yeah. Amway. Oh shoot.
Damn, it tastes like a Ritz.
Exactly. But that's why I like talking to you, brother, because you can go back. I mean, I don't mind talking to younger folks or whatnot, but you can go back and you have attention to detail. So for me, it's like a reflection of me. I'm talking back with, you know, it's nice. See, the way we're talking, because of our experiences and how we absorb things, yes, we have different experiences, different lives, but it's a common thing going in there, and it feels like I've known you, talking to you for the last 50 years. You see what I'm saying? Because I say things sometimes that go right over people's heads, not because I'm so great, but because we didn't have some certain, you know, we have overlap, but not that much. I have a lot of overlap with you. I'm enjoying this bad boy.
Well, it's like I said, Lance, you know, I remember going to see Star Wars at the drive-in movie when it first came out. Now, if you tell somebody today drive-in, like somebody today drive-in what? Drive-in where? That you could drive your car into a theater? When you say drive-in.
Right.
But you say no. You say no, it's a drive-in where you could drive your car, you go in, you pay, and then you park your car by this little thing, and it's got a little speaker on it with a little volume. You put it into your window of your car, and you sit outside and you watch the movie like on a big screen.
Right.
They said, man, they used to do things like that. Like, yeah. You go back to the concession stand in the back, you go get you some popcorn, might get you some hot dogs or whatever, a Coke or whatever, and you go back in the car and just start looking at the movies.
Right. But see,
said,
the
man,
passage of time is a funny thing, because people, and maybe when people speak like that, it's a shock to me, because that was like yesterday. And I know it's not yesterday. And you know, thinking about it too, and I said it on a different show, I said, you take people who were born in 1990, by the time they're 15 years old, in 2005, YouTube came to be, Facebook came to be, even before that with MySpace. So they grew up in a world with smartphones, and so like they'll see things, but their world is different. And those people who were born in 1990, well, guess what? They're 34 years old right now, 34. But we look at it like, oh, you're 1990, you were younger, which is nothing bad to be younger, but it's like the time is zipped up. and people
Yeah.
can't relate. I'm so glad that I had my foot put in that time to know what it's like. And the technology that comes along can never spoil me. I use it like a weapon because I know how to write with a pen, a pencil, and make it, a good handwriting. We know the old school way. So while we use these tools in the present day, we can really use them in a mighty way because we come from the old school. You see, and it's not old. It's really a stronger foundation.
Right. That's exactly what it was. Because I remember a time where it was rare that you see a single mother raising some children by herself.
Exactly. You first assume
that was almost unheard of. Yeah.
Right. You assume that she's widowed. Exactly.
And this is no disrespect to women. I'm saying that I think feminism has messed a lot of things up for women, and I think feminism, that movement, was really ran by homosexuals. But no, I remember that was almost. I'm gonna tell on myself a little bit. I remember being 9 years old, and I remember this girl I went to elementary school with. And at that time, when this was the time when a lot of blacks were becoming homeowners, when people were moving out of the projects and they were purchasing homes. But this girl, she used to live in this building that was around the corner from me. And she was about 9 years old. And I remember going to her. I don't know how this happened, but I remember going to her apartment, and I remember kissing her through the door. She wouldn't let me in the apartment because her mom was at work. She was about 9 or 10 years old. We were in the same class, and I remember kissing her on the lips, like a little peck on the lips, and she'd like giggle, laugh, close the door, or something like that. Then she opened it again, and that was a rare situation to see a young lady. I think back on it, growing up like that in a single. I'm talking about in the 70s, growing up like that. That was rare. That was a rare situation.
Yes, it was.
But she lived in an apartment. She didn't live. It wasn't like she lived in a house, and the mom was at work, and then you would go to her house. It was an apartment, maybe a 2-bedroom apartment or something like that. But that was really a rare situation. But by the 80s, when the 80s started to come in, you start to see more of it. I mean, I remember when the food stamps were in the book. Remember the book of stamps?
Yeah, you pull them out. Yep.
Yeah, you pull them out and you pay. I remember people used to sell the book $130. I think it was $130 worth of food stamps. People would come and sell them for $100.
Right. Or you go in the store with them, and they pay for it, and with the food stamps, and you give them that same amount of money, but half.
Yeah. Oh, that's how they did in New York.
Yeah. Like, say for example, if they had $500 worth of food stamps, they buy you $500 worth of groceries, but you got to pay them $250 cash. Because the food stamps didn't hurt them no kind of way. And there was no regulation to say, well, is your name on this? Well, no, food stamps here, take it.
No, it's just
they had a hustle to get it.
Yeah, because I remember people used to say, hey, man, I got these stamps. And it was like $130 in the book, per book back then. This is like early 80s. And then they would say, hey, man, I'll tell you what I'll do. If you know somebody, tell them I'll give them $130 book of stamps for $100 cash.
Wow.
And somebody be like, okay. They'd be like, all right.
There were more hustles like that, though. When I used to drive the dollar van in New York City, there was a dude who, he's the gas man. But how did the guy become the gas man? Well, what he would do, he had a credit card, because he worked in some kind of store, so he had got a whole lot of credit cards. And when the end of the day would come, when most of the van drivers are going home 9, 10 o'clock at night, he knew the dude who ran the gas station, so he can pull it off without looking suspicious. He would go next to the pump, he'd swipe the card, and he'd fill your tank up. If your tank came up, these were vans now, and the gas was cheap.
And you give them the cash,
$40, and you give them half of what's there. And there would be nothing but vans lined up, all 40, 50 vans from, Yeah, because we get on the CB radio, the gas man.
Right.
Meet us over there by Hillside Avenue or whatever. You know what I mean? Queens Boulevard. That was actually the place we go. And he'd be there, and we do the whole thing. And the pump, sometime after a while, would never, the first person he had to swipe for, that was the last person he swiped for. Because he calculated up. Somebody got smashed, though. I mean, when it came down to that bill, but it was usually like somehow like trucking companies and stuff like that that had the gas up with a credit card remotely. Lots of times with the driver, they had cards, so it wasn't something that really shocked them when they got the monthly thing back. But yeah, that's how that hustle went.
Well, I saw a brother a few days ago. I was going into a store. He said, "Hey man, you're gonna pay cash for that?" Because I bought a few snack items, and he pulled out his card. And what he wanted me to do, he was going to pay for it with his card, and then the difference of it, I would have gave it to him in cash. Because he said, "Man, I need the money."
Right. You're gonna see more of that.
That's what these cards. Yeah, these cards that they you use at Walmart and these places that buy food and stuff like that. Yeah, that's like the new hustle.
Inflation and the collapsing dollar is going to get worse. You're going to see all kind of stuff. It's crazy. Look, TikTok and Instagram, it has become a haven for all types of stuff, but mainly the ladies. It's funny because I might have one of the pages open, uploading something, or just looking at stuff and tutorials and stuff like that. And I had somebody come in there, bling, bling. Hi, baby. Like, wait, who's this? Hi, you want to buy my pictures? I can show you masturbate. I'm not masturbating. Dildo work. So. I'm like, oh God. I said, if I wanted to see that, I'll go in there for free and go on RedTube or something. I don't do that though. But come on. And I'll send you a sample picture. I'm like, I'm not looking for that.
Well, you know what the new hustle out here is now. Well, I guess it's not new, but it's the way I see this. I saw something happen. It was somebody that posted something on TikTok, right? But then if it's like the girl, she dancing in the living room and she doing her little dance or whatever. Okay, got a little outfit on, whatever, But then she would post it over on OnlyFans. But the same dancing with the same outfit, but now she's taking it off. So in other words, the TikTok is being used as a vehicle to lead people to OnlyFans. And I would tell any man in this day and age in 2024 that's purchasing memberships on OnlyFans is a fool. They say a fool and his money are both soon parted. He's a fool.
There's a lot of fools out here.
I mean, I'm not advocating people go out and get adult material. No, but I'm saying the internet is so much saturated with stuff. Why would you have to go pay for it?
That's right.
It's so saturated. It's more saturated now than it was 20 years ago. So I'm like, why would you even do that? And why? And like you said, with inflation and all these other variables, these things going on, why would you just blow your money like that?
I have a theory on that, right? Porn back in the day was a one-sided thing. And a lot of these men would surf until they found somebody that struck their fancy. But it wasn't interactive. Now it's right. Now it's interactive. You can send messages to these women and they talk to you. So now you have and may I say it, a more intimate, which is not true intimacy, but and you can say things to them and they will do what you want. You have the special little, we'll go over and I'll do a private show, but it's going to cost you this amount of money. So now you have a measure of control. You can hide your face because they're not asking to see you. You can ask them to do anything that you want them to do. And then there's that feeling like of intimacy, but it's false. It's not real. She's intimate with everybody on the daggone computer. You understand? She's trying to get that money. It's transactional, but because you can talk to them, it gives them a different feeling than just stroking the regular porn.
Well, the Well, the cam stuff has really killed the strip club, because instead of going to the strip club comes to you.
Exactly. You don't have to
You
worry
know.
about dealing with drunk guys. You don't have to worry about somebody breaking your window and stealing your car radio. You
Mm-hmm.
home, and if you spend a little something, it's far less. And
Mm-hmm.
they do what they do, and that's it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's gotten to the point where guys don't even want to buy hookers as much. I've
Did you
heard that.
speaking of which, I read an article. Two things. One, it talked about in the state of Texas, in these brothels, they're going to come with these Android type sex dolls. They're going to try that out. They're doing like a test run to use these sex dolls with the silicone. The outside, outside is silicone, but the inside is all Android. And they said they're going to test that out, and see what the response is going to be compared to that, to using traditional living females.
Well, one thing's for sure, they're not going to have the cops run up in there and arrest nobody unless you want to arrest a robot. But check it
Right.
out. They're already doing that in Tampa. Not with robots per se, but those very expensive silicone dolls that cost the price of about a Toyota Corolla, and they look so real, and they're heated and they're warm, and the vagina and the mouth. They do that already in Toronto. I did a show a couple years ago on that. My thing, I'm always looking for the sinister reason why they're doing certain things. To me, do you think those guys are going to say, well, I just ejaculated in a silicone vagina that has the fake hair. Let me take a tissue and try to clean her out because of the next guy coming in. They're probably going to do that, but they're going to clean her out and get your sperm, get your DNA for some sinister reason, right? And I mean, okay, you humping on something that look real, but it's not. You're not talking to it. You don't have the thrill of seduction. You don't have the, and then getting into it. No, you just laying there. I mean, it's almost like, even though they look better and more realistic. I don't know if you remember those dolls they had with the mouth open. It was plastic, and you blow it up, and the hands are just like robot hands, just sticking up. And it's plastic. The plastic was so cheap, you would see the seam of the plastic on the side of the leg where they joined it together.
Where they joined it, yeah.
Yeah,
The little Bud Bundy, the doll under the bed.
Right.
Yeah, the blow up dolls
and they used to
back
blow
then.
them up. I mean, like, come on.
Yeah, and you know what? Depending on the technology that's inside the Android, you be trying to get up and walk out the room, and you hear a voice said, "You can't leave."
I'm telling you.
Huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Who said
you
that?
can't go until I come.
Like, what?
You a robot? What you mean?
Who's that? What?
You jump on it. It's a robot.
The eyes might be different color, but then it turns red, like the Terminator.
Oh no! You better get out of there. Yeah, you better get out of there.
I'm gonna knock a hole in the wall if I have to.
It's gonna ejaculate motor oil.
You hear some noise, say dum 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 dum.
Your clothes. Give it to me now.
Give it to me now.
Oh God.
These guys, they said that, and something else, because of AI, they're talking about people having AI girlfriends, so that you come in from work and you hear a voice said, "Hi, Bill, how was your day?" Oh, it was so and so. Wow, are you tired? Well, why don't you go get some rest? I mean, an AI girlfriend.
But they have the companions on the phone that you can construct what they are, and then the more you talk to them, they'll learn you and they become more attuned to you. And I saw an example of it. I mean, you can talk to these things any kind of way you want. Like you said, are you tired? How was your day? I just want a little head. Okay, honey, I'll give you some head.
The little android roll out of the room. Yeah, little android come out the little like iRobot. What's that movie with Bruce Willis when he played that what's that movie? The Surrogates.
Yeah,
remember
I didn't watch the full. Yeah,
little surrogate come out there. Well, if you're hungry, don't worry. Your food is in the microwave.
Oh
Oh,
God.
okay, okay. I,
But
uh,
nothing's like the human touch, the real human touch. Why these people? To me, really, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say what I've always said it. There's a demonic thing going on. There are disembodied spirits out here that want to jump on you, jump in you, and they will use these things to catch your imprint and suck your soul, among other things. But this technology got here too fast. I know they always had
mm-hmm,
certain technology, but this whole thing got here too fast. And it was like a Instagram video I was speaking on, and they were saying how there is alien intelligence that we've come in contact with, that they taught us a whole lot of stuff. Yeah.
mm-hmm,
So if you
mm-hmm,
notice with the AI produced pictures, they never get the fingers right.
mm-hmm,
Look at them sometimes. They'll do that six
mm-hmm,
fingers and 7 fingers. They never get it right. Because
mm-hmm,
to me, there's something behind this that's not human. Like what makes this stuff? What generates this stuff? Is some kind of box that you hook up to your computer? No. Where's it coming from? You go to these websites, they write an article for you, they put up a picture for you. Now, with a few prompts, they got something that can make a movie for you.
mm-hmm.
Show me in a chase scene and 3 black men behind me with knives, and I trip and I get up and I get away barely. I get in my car, and there we go.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was said,
You,
you won't need actors and actresses in Hollywood no more.
you know, two things, Lance. I remember I was reading an article, this like the late '90s, and there was a Taiwanese company. You remember when Bruce Lee made that movie, his first movie, Fist of Fury? Remember he
Yeah.
made that? He filmed that in Thailand. Well, what was happening was, to commemorate Bruce's first film, this Taiwanese company was going to make a Bruce Lee movie. It was going to be a Bruce Lee film,
Mm-hmm.
and it was all going to be digitized, done by computer. And they said they wanted to make it to where you would see Bruce Lee on the screen as a real person,
Mm-hmm.
but yet it's all digital. But I guess they never fully got around, because they didn't have the technology at that
Right.
time to really manipulate that, to really sell it. It
Right.
looked like a high, the technology they had, it would just look like a high, like an animation or something like that. But
Right.
they didn't
Right.
have the
At that time.
technology at that time to
Yeah.
pull that off. Another thing I remember growing up looking in, remember those encyclopedias, the World Book encyclopedias? Your
Oh
father
God,
would
yeah.
buy it with all those the different books for each letter, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I
Right. So
remember
let it show up
looking
at
in
your
one.
door and come inside. Yep.
Yeah, probably sell Amway too. I remember I remember reading one, and they said in the future, this was like back in the 70s, they said in the future they're going to have a machine in your house where you could look at people and talk to them at the same time as if you were on the phone.
Exactly. They were
And I
right.
used to be like, how are they going to pull that off? You mean I can talk to
Mm-hmm.
somebody in real time and look at them and talk to them like I'm talking on the phone? They said, yeah, they're going to have
Mm-hmm.
technology like that. I remember that when they were talking
Wow.
about that. I said, how are they going to
Wow.
pull that off? You can look at somebody and talk to them at the same time, and we're already there.
Wow.
Remember Captain Kirk? Remember Captain Kirk in Star Trek? They had the little flip
Yeah. Yeah.
communicators.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well,
And it
yeah,
was
there
a
was a
flip
flip,
too.
the flip phone.
Yeah. Yeah. Unbelievable.
Check
I'm good at
knowledge.
that. Oh, okay. Well, I really don't even want to know if they're going to have a transporter, because I'm scared the person doing the transporting is
You ain't
racist.
gonna make it.
Isn't that Lancescurv? Yes, that a racist pro-black
Well,
bastard.
that's
Where you
the
want to go,
20th
Lance?
one. That's
Exactly.
the
Yeah, I have to go. I have to go to New York City right now. Just transport me there. Little does that little bastard know it, sending him in the jungle to a snake pit.
we're sending him to Mars. Said, man, I
Exactly.
don't understand it. That's
Happy
the 20th
breathing.
one today. Man,
Yeah, I know, right? Right.
that's the
Depopulation.
20th. Yeah, that's the 20th one today. So yeah, so I feel, I really feel sorry for a lot of these. I mean, I feel sorry for the ladies, but I really feel sorry for the young men today, because
Oh, they got it messed
they
up.
oh man, they don't.
What's left for them?
When you talk about deception, going back into deception
Right.
and all this this woke, this neo liberal secularism, which is basically woke, which is woke culture. It's like the young boys, the males are being told that another man's rectum is just as valuable as a woman's vagina. That's the idea that's been being put into the minds of the people.
Yep.
So instead of like people, it is, because instead of people having these challenges and traditionally where they would have to go get professional help, they're being told with this dysfunction, the normalization of dysfunction, live your truth. But if this man lives his truth, he'll be dead within the next 10 to 20 years.
That's the point, though. And
because every action has an equal or greater reaction.
Exactly. A real man, they want to say, is toxic. This other stuff,
absolutely,
gets a pass.
Absolutely, toxic masculinity. That's insane.
But you can't say nothing about these dudes out here with the rainbow flag.
You know, there was a I heard about in Britain. There was a group of people that, you know how people have this alternative lifestyle, and there was a group of people, an organization that was trying to help them to kind of similar, like get your diet together, get all these like high fructose corn syrup and all these non-fermented soy stuff. Hydrogenated oils out of their diets and stuff. Clean up the diet, which would kind of get them, normal. And and there was another group of the British government even tried to go after them.
Wow.
How dare you tell men that they need to be straight or normal?
I can't believe this.
Yeah.
I can't believe the world I'm living in. How dare
you tell them that? Yeah. I heard about that. I was like, yeah. But all of it, in my humble opinion, is control of people. It's management. It's
yeah.
If they came out physically and start really attacking people physically, they would get a lot of pushback from that. So the name of the game is to normalize dysfunction and even reward them, because you need a punishment and reward system in the process. So we won't give you reparations, but if you put on this rainbow flag, we'll write you, we'll give you a blank check, whatever you want. Oh, you need what, $400,000? $400,000? Let me get my checkbook. So-and-so, $400,000, and put a little asterisk in there and say, in the point down at the bottom, say yes, and the Rainbow Community Watch, and oh, we ain't gonna give you no reparations. You forget that, but you want to put on the rainbow? I mean, with the children out there, they being exploited, the Boy Scouts. Why would you have girls join the Boy Scouts?
Oh God!
I was a scout years ago. I mean, briefly, but why would you? The Girl Scouts.
I was a Cub Scout.
Well, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with the Girl Scouts, and why would you want to bring the girls into where the boys are?
That don't make no sense.
Don't the girls deserve to have their space where they can develop and become? Because the scouts was supposed to take young people and create leadership among young people. It was like a step, an organization to create leadership within the young people as they go coming into adulthood. So why would you want to mix the scouts like that? And then they got the scouts out there with the rainbow flag. I guess they, at the parades, I guess they need some fresh meat, huh? That old.
Yeah, exactly. To fill the ranks and turn it into something else, and be the 2024 version of the Village People. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. It's fun to stay. Yeah. They got everything for you men to enjoy. You can hang out with all the boys. Young man, I was down and out with the blues. I said, come on, man. And what's the other one? In the Navy.
In the Navy.
We want you. We want you. We want you as a new recruit. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
We want you. We want you. We want you to give up your dookie shoot. That's what they really want to say.
That's exactly
It's gonna be.
exactly. So it's the normalization of dysfunction. And like I said, I believe
Hmm.
there are people who are out here sincerely. They have challenges and they need
Yeah,
help. But I don't think that's the type of help that you don't put people in a situation to make the situation worse than what it already is. That's not help.
exactly.
That's a hindrance. But I think it's all about control. It's about control of people. We're talking about deception, right?
Hmm.
Because at the end of the day, what it really boils down to, what is going to be the end result? And
Nobody
is and
thinks about
is
that though.
yeah, and is the same genders being with each other? Is that an improvement compared to opposite genders being with each other?
Exactly.
That's a question. You see, I would
They
pose
know
that
the
as a
answer,
question.
but they
Hmm.
want it this way. They know what's
Right.
going to happen. They want it this way. They
Hmm.
want it this way. That's how
Hmm.
they get down, brother.
Hmm.
I'm gonna wrap it down, and we're gonna continue the rest of them.
Yes, sir.
The fatigue is still hitting me. I hate to be abrupt like that, but no, we can talk a little longer. But I'm like, yo, what happened? You know what happened? I
Hmm.
slept until almost 12 o'clock.
Hmm.
Because I'm far up ahead of the East Coast. And I'm like,
Right.
no, I'm gonna do the show a little earlier. Because right
Hmm.
now, if I keep going no more, I'm gonna sleep late again, and we're gonna do this show later. It'll never end. So no, we're gonna keep on doing shows. I'll just make this a part 2, and we continue on
You,
with it.
Lance. Thank you. I was just looking at some of the comments.
Hmm.
He said when you talk about Zapp's computer love, that song being that's a good point.
Yep,
Yeah, that
yep,
song being
yep.
relevant today.
Even craft work.
Hmm.
Computer love. Do, 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 do,
Hmm.
do. I knew what time it
Hmm.
was.
Hmm.
They're gonna, and my friend told me years ago, my friend Angelo, they're gonna have a bodysuit that you wear. And
Hmm.
the next woman, and it's supposed to be a woman, right? She wears a
Hmm.
bodysuit too, and it's connected to the computer. And so when she reaches out to touch you, you can feel it because the signals, go forward to this part of the body that you want to touch and everything you want to do. It's crazy. Yeah.
Well, isn't what that when you what's the I forget what you call the game when you wear like the little visor and you ever seen these people? Um, They'd
Walking
be
through the
walking in
street.
the house and they run into the wall because they literally think they're in that virtual reality.
Right,
It's like
right.
walking a tightrope and you're in the virtual reality, but you're really on the floor, just a regular in a regular room. And
Right.
it's that's I mean psychologically, from a psychological standpoint, that's got to be a hell of a thing when you can put somebody's mind in a reality that their body is not in.
Well, that's almost like
That's
the
some
music.
manipulation.
Right. When we first got the headphones and folks walked out in the street and didn't look both ways.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But I know
Mm-hmm.
what you mean because this is all encompassing.
Right.
And it's like they're taking baby steps in this thing because it's awkward and they're not used to it. But once they get used to it, they don't never want to come back. Why? If they can manipulate that reality
Mm-hmm.
and forget porn, you can put yourself
Mm-hmm.
in the bed with 5 women. Shoot,
Mm-hmm.
they ain't never coming out
And,
the house.
and you got the visors on with the suit.
It covers your eye. It covers all the peripheral vision. So you're having a deeper experience because it's across the board. That is wild.
And you can have 100 women lined up
Hmm.
in front of
Hmm.
you,
Hmm.
and you like, man, I done made it to heaven. And then go one at a time with women that's not even there, or a
One at a
female
time.
with a man,
Let me try
with
to knock
men
off.
who are not even there. That's a
Right,
heck of that's
right,
some
right,
heck of
right.
talk about mind fuck.
Exactly. Artificially generated orgasms.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Wow. Wow.
And they were
So
paying no mind to real reality.
man,
That
that's
is
some
so.
that's some heck of some mental manipulation. Man,
It's like a
that's some
shot of
heck of
crack without taking crack. Yeah.
yeah,
It's the pleasure
absolutely.
centers of the brain, a dopamine hit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And like you said, a shot of crack without crack.
And they fall asleep with
That
these things on their face. Hmm.
that would have been something if you said in the future, because we're still talking about dopamine, on the cerebral level, but
Right.
It would have been something to say people are going to be they're going to be wired up to a machine that they're going to get a shot of drugs of like crack or marijuana or whatever, heroin, without using hair, physically using it,
Yeah.
because it's all
It's
the
coming.
manipulation of dopamine is being
Mhm.
manipulated.
Oh man, that's a hell
And
of a
too much
subject.
releasing of and too much release of dopamine can be very unhealthy
Exactly.
mentally.
But it's like ingesting something with sugar. The sugar makes you
Mm-hmm.
eat more of it when you're already satisfied. You know, this thing keeps you
Mm-hmm.
going, and your
Mm-hmm.
brain starts to crave this thing. You be craving this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It's
Wow.
something, brother. It's the world that we live in. You know,
That's the
it's
way of the world. Yeah. For real.
the crazy makers. There's a
Enough of
book.
us are all
A
really
lady wrote
crazy.
this book. She was a dietitian. She was talking about high fructose corn syrup and all these chemicals, like in the food and stuff like that. And she said she was a dietitian. She wrote this book like around 2000, and it was called The Crazy Makers. And that's what she was saying, you know. But she was talking about food, you know, chemicals within food, you know,
Right.
monosodium glutamate. But now you're talking about crazy makers. You know, we're gonna hook you up to a machine, and it's just
Damn.
gonna. And you know, and I told you about my wife. She was telling me about she knew of a young man who went to Thailand and he
Mm-hmm.
got that surgery. It was like 20
Oh,
surgeries, but now his penis and testicles are
mm-hmm.
gone, and it looks like a
Who wants that?
prosthetic vagina.
Mm-mm. Who wants that? I mean, who
Who?
really? And I mean, I'm just saying. And when they get a few years ahead, they wish they never did it. And there's enough examples of people saying that,
Yeah,
removing your private
I
part.
want my gender back.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You can't
But you can't
return
get
that.
you can't get it back. No,
Mm-hmm.
you can't get it back. See, this is what I meant. The whole thing about choices that people
Right.
make, and I'm just gonna say this. I'm gonna close out. The human being is the only being that can give itself to something that will hurt it, because like if you look at animals out there when they eat, most of the time when they're fully fed, they sit there, they'll just sit. Once they're fully fed, they're satisfied, they'll sit there. Even though they might see something, they might see a bird over there like on the ground or something. Normally, like if you see a cat or something, they might, instead of attacking the bird to eat, they might just sit there. But the human being, once the human being does something and it feels good, a human being will keep doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it and
Of
doing it,
course. Of
because of
course.
that feeling of that it gets from that
Mm-hmm.
type of behavior, like killing. A human being will get to the point where killing becomes sport with them.
Yeah. It
Whereas with an
diminishes them
animal,
also.
yeah, the animal will just kill for for survival purposes to eat. But once it's fed, it'll stop killing until it gets hungry again. So there is this young man must have been something happened in his life that was so traumatizing
Yes.
that being looking like a woman was not
Oh man.
enough for him. And there's a voice, that voice, that force, which is this voice in his speaking to him into his heart, that says, no, you need to go a step further. This is not good enough. This is
That
not good
is
enough. Oh, yeah. You need to go, all the way. So in other words, you need to go now, get some money together, go to Thailand, have about 20 surgeries until it's no longer there, and then we'll decide what we're going to do next. Because even with that, that might not be enough. So where is the
oh,
point, Lance, listeners? Where is the point of restraint?
there is none.
You see?
There is none. There is none.
Mhm.
Curious people, they're putting out this stuff, the movies and the Hollywood on social media. The kids don't have that filter to know what's right and wrong.
Mhm.
To a point, some can,
Mhm.
but you're getting right up in their brain at a developmental stage. They can't shake that off. They're going to
Mhm.
gravitate towards stuff like that, even if they don't consciously see it. They're
Mhm.
wiring the children up, and it's sad.
Mhm. You know,
Mm.
people say, man, this generation, these children, this and these children. I said, children are not bad by nature. Children only follow what the adults do.
That's right.
If you want to see better children as adults, we have to produce a better product, something better for them. Because you know, most of our children, they've been lied to all their lives. And who was lying to
Yep.
them? The adults. Oh, Santa Claus got you this.
And
Oh,
desensitized to reality.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then we lie to the children. And then when the children lie, we punish them.
And it's
I didn't
something.
I didn't teach you to lie. Who taught you that? Yes, you did. You told me it was Santa Claus, and you were downstairs, 3 o'clock in the morning, taking wrapping up the gifts, putting them under the tree, and they came
Wow.
down. Don't let them come downstairs. Keep them upstairs.
Damn. Damn.
You know, and talking about
And it's so
I
obvious.
didn't teach you to lie, and the children are hurt.
Oh, please.
But they find out that their parents lied to them. That's the last people
Mm-hmm.
that they want to be hurt by is their parents. That's the last people. Maybe that it's one thing for your neighbors next door or your neighbor around the corner to lie to you, but your own parents, your own flesh and blood. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, Santa, look what Santa brought you, and you don't even have a damn chimney. Oh,
So
Santa
we
was so
accept it
tired.
because that's the first thing we were introduced to. I mean, that's the way it's
Right.
supposed to be. But nobody uses
Right.
logical thinking to break it down.
Yeah. Santa
You know?
he's just left. He just left with his reindeers. He just waved goodbye, and he left you all these presents. And the man and the man at the store tells you Merry Christmas, and the guy who sold it to you, he's having a Happy New Year.
Over your back.
The cash register just ringing.
Oh,
And the
God.
man who sold it to you, he don't even believe in it. If you know what I mean, who I'm talking about.
Yep. Yep.
He don't even believe in
Yep.
that. So, all right, brother
That's
Lance. If you got anything else for me, we coming up on the 3 o'clock hour. We got any questions? Anything? Anybody?
right. No, I'm good, man. I mean, you put it down good. We have good points. We have a whole lot more on the list like that, and they're
Yeah.
all different. It's not like the same kind of stuff and stretching it out. I made sure to do that, and so we'll go through it for 5. What I would never do is rush a show because we're down, But I'm feeling kind of fatigued. I thought I was going to be super good today, but I ran up and down a lot. There was some work here, and still created and put the show up early. And I want to say to everybody that sometimes when you don't get notifications, it's really because a lot of times when I put up a show at the last minute, say I'm gonna do it at 10, and I finish, doing everything by 9:40, in them 20 minutes, they ain't gonna do it. They ain't gonna do it. But it's got to hang out there for a certain time for you to see and get the notification. That's kind of hurt from the inside. And another thing is, once you do 3 videos in a day, like say you have a bunch of team with you, and then if you put out 3, there's going to be no notifications for the other ones. It's just the first 3. So that's pretty much how it is. But man, I really appreciate you. It was entertaining and informative, and the righteous addiction has increased.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to it again. I'm gonna put it up tomorrow. If you can make it back in, fine, we'll do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I'm gonna be here, and if there's anything projected in 2 weeks, say, hey Lance, let's do this. Boom, I'm gonna do it because it's intelligent and there's ways to spin it, and we need to look within instead of all this false entertainment pulling us out of ourselves. When at times we should be in a state of meditation, regeneration, cleaning out everything within to reveal the real us. Because we have a lot of people out here with the ultimate deception of where they don't even know themselves. And that's sad.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah.
But thank you, brother, so much.
Well, I would like to thank you, brother Lance, and I know sometimes we joke and laugh and like, because like I said, we got it. YouTube is an entertainment platform, so we can't lose sight of that. But at the same time,
right.
we're just discussing real world situations and to the best of our understanding, real world events. You see,
that's right.
And it's really about the viewers. You know, it's about it's about them, and I would love to hear more from them. And some of the people, like I said, Mr. Politico, the brother, I enjoy listening to him. Like I said, I know he struck a nerve when he talked about having that's I don't like to use this word side chick, but having that woman on the other side of town. I said, I know he struck a nerve with that, because I was reading the comment section about when he said that. And I was like, yeah, I said, I know, but he struck on something that's very important, because like I said before, people don't like to admit that they have needs.
Right.
They don't like to admit that.
It's like weakness or something to them.
Yeah, but as human beings, we have needs. Men give, women receive. You know, it's like a dependent, codependent relationship. There's nothing wrong with that. But like you said, people are afraid to admit that they have needs. It's like they're afraid to admit it. Instead of just coming out and saying, well, instead of getting past all the minutia and all this, well, I think I like him, and I'll just tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
Just tell the truth.
The truth will set you free. In the world of deception, truth is not welcome at all, because it blows the hustle.
Yeah, there you go. That's it.
That's right.
That's it. I can't. Sometimes the hustle for some people is better than the results.
And there's something. And they want to believe that more. That's why they get hustled. But you're right about that.
There's sometimes running the game. The running the game is better than the results from running the game. Sad, but all right, brother Lance, get on out of there. Thank you, brother. Hey, you be safe, man. Peace to you and the family, and to the viewers as well.
Yes, I'm gonna sleep deep, man. This is real good. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And once these become classic old shows, they're still gonna run back, because they're so full of substance and perfect balance of the entertaining and the information and the compelling thoughts projected. That's what I like to have. And nostalgia, the stuff we talk about in the past that other people in our age group roughly can remember, but most of the time you don't really see it that much and spoken that way. And the time put in, not just, well, I'm doing a show for 10 minutes or 1 minute, or, we get down in it. Person can wash their clothes and listen to this on the replay. Person can take a walk and go to the gym or lay in the bed and doze off. Oh, I gotta listen to it again. We're gonna bring it back. Trust me. We're gonna bring it right on back.
Well, when we talk about Amway and World Book encyclopedias and Viewmaster viewers, the older ones know what we're talking about. Botanica,
exactly.
Yeah, that too. The older ones, they know what we're talking about. They know. They know. The older ones, they know.
They know exactly what it is.
Yes, sir. All right, brother Lance, take care of yourself, brother. Thank you, brother. Be safe now.
Thank you so much. Definitely,
all right, brother.
Much love.
Yes, sir.
All right. Please.
Yes, sir.
Definitely. All right. We'll be back tomorrow with part 2 of this, everybody. And I'm going to wrap it down. But I'm quitting. I'm going to preserve, because I'm doing a whole lot of other things. This is really my hangout. This is really my playtime. And it's a hangout and a playtime that I appreciate and love so much. So anyway, much love to you all. We will be back approximately the same time, maybe an hour or two earlier. I forgot what day it is, but it's going to be Sunday. Well, for me right now, it already is Sunday. But we'll do this on a Sunday chop up. And we go off the topic, sometimes come back on, but it's a nice flow. It's a conversation that you'd love to overhear, and you get a chance to do it here. Much love to you all. Peace.